Chapter 59:28. The king of elixirs cupped his fists at the 5 ancestral patriarchs and said, "Thank you." He turned around and looked at Lin Xian and the others. "See, these are the 5 ancestral patriarchs of the deity ground. Any one of them can destroy the second galaxy. Can you stop them?" Gu Yanran and the others turned pale again. However, Lin Xian smiled and stood there with his hands behind his back. He looked calm and didn't seem to care. The king of elixirs was furious. "Why are you pretending at such a young age?" He waved his hand and wanted the 5 ancestral patriarchs to attack. The 5 ancestral patriarchs walked over. "Greetings, young master." Ancestral patriarch Tianxue came to Lin Xian and bowed respectfully. "Greetings, young master." "Greetings, young master." The 5 ancestral patriarchs were extremely respectful to Lin Xian, as if they were worshipping a god. This scene left everyone dumbfounded. The families and sects in the hall were all dumbfounded. What's going on? Am I dreaming? Am I hallucinating? These are the 5 ancestral patriarchs from the deity ground. They're so superior. But now they're bowing to a young man. What's going on? Who is this young man? Countless shocked voices were heard. The people of Elixir King Mountain were even more stunned, especially the king of elixirs. His body trembled. He knew that even he had to treat the 5 ancestral patriarchs with respect, but now the 5 of them bowed to him. Didn't that mean that the young man in front of him was even more terrifying? Who did he offend? "So you still remember me? I thought you were going to attack me," Lin Xian said with a smile. Ancestral patriarch Tianxue and the others were so frightened that they fell to their knees. "Please forgive us, young master. How dare we attack you?" These 5 were none other than ancestral patriarch Tianxue and the others that Lin Xian had subdued when he first came to the deity ground. The 5 of them were well aware of Lin Xian's methods. Damn it, they're kneeling. The 5 patriarchs actually knelt. At this moment, all the sect leaders and clan leaders in the main hall stood up, dumbfounded. One must know that Zhang Xian's salute had already left them astonished, but now the meaning of kneeling was completely different. This meant that the 5 patriarchs were no match for this young man. In fact, their statuses were as different as heaven and earth. Who exactly was this young man? What? The king of elixirs' eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Why are the 5 of you afraid of him? He's just a young man. Could it be that the 5 of you together can't take him down? Ancestor Tianxue raised his head and snorted. "Shut up, you idiot!" The Luosha patriarch also snorted. "Even your master has to lower his head before him, let alone you. Why aren't you kneeling down and kowtowing to Lin Gongzi and apologizing?" At the same time, they turned to Lin Xian and said, "Young master, listen to us. We didn't know that he had offended young master. If we had known, we wouldn't have dared to do it, even if you gave us 100 guts." Lin Xian looked at the king of elixirs and smiled. "You have a lot of friends. You've saved countless masters. With a wave of your hand, thousands of soldiers and horses were about to attack me. Where are they now?" The king of elixirs trembled in fear. The people on Elixir King Mountain were even more terrified. The Grand Elder, the woman in black, and the others were scared out of their wits. They all knelt on the ground with a thud. This young man was too powerful. He was so powerful that he could suppress everything. Would they still dare to attack? The king of elixirs' expression changed instantly. "So it's Lin Gongzi. I didn't recognize you. An offended Lin Gongzi. Please forgive me, Lin Gongzi." He hurriedly bowed and saluted. Ancestor Tianxue stood up and kicked him. "Why are you still bowing? Kneel." The 5 patriarchs stood up and knocked the king of elixirs to the ground. They kowtowed to Lin Gongzi, admitted their mistakes, and crippled their own arms. "Do you know that you almost got us killed?" The 5 patriarchs vented their anger on the King of Elixirs. The King of Elixirs was severely injured in an instant. He screamed, "No, spare me. Lin Gongzi, spare me. My master is the 9-crown king." He still had one last hope, and that was his master, the 9-crown king of the deity ground. With his strength and status, he was a terrifying servant. When he said this, he became proud again. Was the 9-crown king powerful? Lin Xian sneered. "Looks like you're still unrepentant." Hearing this, Ancestor Tianshui and the others didn't hold back. They punched through the King of Elixirs' body. Blood splattered and screams were heard. The main hall seemed to have turned into hell. "Do you admit your mistakes?" Lin Xian asked in a low voice. "Spare me, Lin Gongzi." The King of Elixirs was terrified. Lin Xian said, "Didn't you say that you could crush everything if you were strong? You can crush others, but I can also crush you. Come here and apologize to my niece." Apologize to her? The King of Elixirs looked at Gu Yanran and his face darkened. He could see that Lin Xian was powerful, so it wasn't shameful for him to kowtow. But who was this Gu Yanran? He was definitely unwilling. Lin Xian was enraged, and he sent him flying with a slap, smashing him into pieces. He said coldly, "You're still unrepentant. If that's the case, there's no need for you to live." The 5 patriarchs also prepared to kill. The King of Elixirs roared, "No!" He cut his forehead and screamed, "Master, save me!" A beam of light appeared between his brows. Then a loud voice sounded, "Who dares bully my disciple?" The 9-crown king's power erupted and swept across the land. Ancestor Tianshui and the others were also knocked back and vomited blood. The others were shocked. It was the 9-crown king's aura. Was he coming? They trembled in fear. Those from King Elixir Mountain were pleasantly surprised. The Grand Elder and the black-haired woman all smiled. Great, their ancestral master was here. The 9-crown king was here. He could destroy everything. The King of Elixir stood up and roared, "Kid, so what if you're strong? Are you a match for the 9-crown king? Let's see how I'll kill you later." In the sky, the blood-red light turned into a space platform. Then, an old man appeared. This old man had the demeanor of a transcendent being and was very powerful. The King of Elixirs knelt on the ground. "Master, please kill him." The transcendent old man lowered his head. "Who's so reckless?" Murderous intent appeared in his eyes as he looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood there and sneered. Ancestor Tianshui and the others roared, "Don't attack! He's the one!" Lin Xian stopped the 5 patriarchs and looked at the 9-crown king. "Are you sure you want to attack me? I'm afraid you can't bear the consequences. My master isn't afraid of you." The King of Elixirs sneered. The 9-crown king frowned. This young man is so confident. He looked at the other party and found him unfathomable. In the next moment, he seemed to remember something. He carefully identified it and then sucked in a breath of cold air. Soon, the 9-crown king arrived in front of Lin Xian and knelt on the ground. "Greetings, Lin Gongzi." The 9-crown king knelt down. The people in the hall had all gone crazy. At this moment, even Gu Santong and the others were dumbfounded. The 9-crown king was a supreme existence in their eyes. How could he kneel now? The King of Elixirs was even more crazy. "Even my master is kneeling?" He felt despair. Chapter 59:29. Seeing him kneel, Lin Xian smiled. "You recognized me. I'm stupid, so I recognized you. Young master, please punish me." 9-crown king was extremely respectful. Lin Xian shook his head. "I don't dare to punish you. Your disciple even said that he wanted to kill me. My disciple doesn't know what's good for him." 9-crown king flipped his hand and slapped King Dan to the ground. "You idiot! Not only did you offend Lin Gongzi, but you also implicated me. Go to hell and repent." He slapped the Elixir King to death, his heart and soul destroyed. The Elixir King couldn't believe that it was his master who had done it. The people around him were also terrified. The people of Elixir King Mountain all knelt. "Grandmaster, please spare us. It's no use begging me. Beg Lin Gongzi." Nine-Crowned King knelt on the ground, not saying a word. He was also waiting for Lin Xian's punishment. The people of Elixir King Mountain all knelt. "Lin Gongzi, please have mercy. Lin Gongzi, please have mercy." Lin Xian said coldly, "I can spare those who have nothing to do with it. But those who had participated in the pursuit of Gu Yanran or knew the situation but didn't help, you can do it yourselves." Some people despaired. Among them, the Grand Elder and a few others made their own moves and were transformed into mists of blood that vanished into thin air. "As for you," Lin Xian looked at Nine-Crowned King, "you didn't teach well. Breaking one of your arms is your punishment. Thank you, Lin Gongzi, for sparing my life." Nine-Crowned King kowtowed to express his gratitude. Young master didn't have to do it. He broke one of his arms and then retreated to the side. Satisfied? Lin Xian looked at Gu Yanran and smiled. Gu Yanran nodded desperately. "This is a peerless expert. With a few words, he turned the enemy into ashes. Since you vented your anger, let's go." Lin Xian turned and prepared to leave, but they had Nirvana pills. Gu Yanran was very interested in that pill. Lin Xian laughed and said, "That kind of trash can only trick others. When I get back, I'll give you something better." Hearing Lin Xian's words, the surrounding people were stunned. Nirvana pills are trash? However, when they thought of the other party's methods, they were able to understand. The young man in front of him was definitely a godlike existence. Lin Xian and his group left, leaving behind countless legends. Not long after, Gu Santong and his family also left through the space gate. Before he left, Gu Santong said, "Brother Lin, I will try my best to master the ancient scriptures. When the time comes, we will fight together, and I will lend you a hand." Lin Xian nodded. "Good brother, let's fight together in the future." Gu Yanran also said, "Uncle Lin, the elixirs you gave me are delicious. Can you give me more in the future?" Lin Xian laughed and said, "The next time we meet, I will give you immortal pills." "Really? Then it's a promise." "Pinky promise, don't forget." Gu Yanran was looking forward to it. Lin Xian smiled and waved his hand. They parted ways. Gu Santong and the others went to the hidden Emperor's Star, the Gu family. Lin Xian also returned. He was preparing to go to the heavenly land. On the way, Lin Xian met someone. It was Zhong Lingxiu. "Lin Xian, I want to go with you. I want to experience it." Zhong Lingxiu said, "How did you know I was here?" Lin Xian was surprised. Zhong Lingxiu said, "I happened to meet the Gu family, so I asked them to build a space gate and rushed over. By the way, Gu family leader, I am very grateful to you." "It's nothing. It's a piece of cake for me. Plus, Santong is my friend. However, I want to go to the heavenly land. It's very dangerous there." Zhong Lingxiu said, "Of course I know it's dangerous, but I'm not a flower in a greenhouse. I'm not afraid of danger. Permitha destroyed the Tao E sect. I must grow up and take revenge for the Tao E sect. All right, you can follow me, but you have to listen to me, and don't act on your own. Also, if it's too dangerous, I'll send you back." "Don't worry, I know." Zhong Lingxiu nodded. The group set off for the heavenly land. They entered the deity ground and came to the depths. As they flew deeper, they felt an extremely terrifying aura. They were tired after flying for a long time. They decided to rest for 2 days. Lin Xian didn't go in immediately. He had been to the heavenly land before and knew the danger there. So he had to adjust his state. Zhong Lingxiu looked into the distance and took a deep breath. That's the heavenly land. What a terrifying aura. Zhong Lingxiu had a connate Taoism aptitude, one of the strongest physiques in the universe. She had cultivated it to a very high level. Of course, she hadn't reached the phenomenal level yet. This time, she wanted to reach the phenomenal level of her Taoism aptitude. Her entire being melded into the void. Life and Tao came together as she sensed the aura around her. The dark red divine dragon and the toad were both amazed. This little girl is incredible. As expected of a Taoist physique, a very mysterious physique. Lin Xian's body was powerful and his flames were terrifying. His connate Taoism aptitude had merged with the great Tao and had thousands of changes. Moreover, the great Tao's laws could be cultivated very quickly. Zhong Lingxiu had reached the nine-crown king. Lin Xian was also surprised. One had to know that Lin Xian and the others had experienced many dangers to reach the nine-crown king. Zhong Lingxiu's trump cards were definitely not as good as his, but her realm was very fast. All of this was related to the connate Taoism aptitude. Merging with the great Tao, one's cultivation speed would naturally increase by leaps and bounds. Even Lin Xian was surprised. As expected of a super physique in the universe, once it reached phenomenal level, it would be an existence that could sweep across the universe. He was looking forward to the moment when the connate Taoism aptitude reached phenomenal level. After resting for 2 days, Lin Xian and the others continued on their journey. However, before they entered the celestial land, they were stopped. Everyone, don't go any further. It's very dangerous ahead. If you go in, you will most likely die. Listen to the old man's advice. Come back. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the others stopped and turned to look. Behind them, an old man had appeared at some point. The old man had gray hair, wore cotton clothes, and had yellow teeth. Those who didn't know better would think that he was a beggar. However, in his right hand, he was holding a canvas with the words, "Immortal guides the way," written on it. In his left hand, he was leading a dog. The dog looked like an ordinary country dog, but it was especially intelligent. At this moment, it was grinning at everyone. That's right, it was smiling. Zhong Lingxiu and the others felt their hair stand on end. The sudden appearance of such a strange combination made them very vigilant. The Crimson Dragon said, "Old man, who are you? Why do you care? I'm being kind. That place is not where ordinary people can go. If you go, you will most likely die. Of course, we know it's dangerous. We're going there." The Crimson Dragon snorted and was about to ignore it. However, the old man threw out a few copper coins. He exclaimed, "Oh, no, this divination isn't good. You guys, it's better not to go. It's dangerous ahead." Pretending to be mysterious, the Crimson Dragon and the toad continued walking. However, the old man said, "Fairy, it's better not to go in. If you go in, I'm afraid it's really dangerous." The dog at his feet also barked twice. The old man said, "Look, even De Huang said so. You definitely shouldn't go." Seeing that no one paid attention to him, the old man could only sigh. There are many ways to cultivate the physique. It doesn't have to come here. Hearing this, Zhong Lingxiu was stunned. This time, she really wanted to cultivate the physique. Could it be that the old man had seen through everything? Even Lin Xian stopped. He narrowed his eyes and turned his head. For the first time, he looked at the old man seriously. Chapter 59:30. Lin Xian began to look at the other party seriously. He asked, "Old man, what do you think we should do?" "It's very simple. Let this little fairy follow me, and she will be safe." "Follow you?" Zhong Lingxiu frowned. The Crimson Dragon also snorted coldly. "I think you're an old liar." "Nonsense." Chen Yixin shook his head. "How can I be a liar? Follow me and learn 1 or 2 of my unique skills, and she will be safe." The Crimson Dragon and the others obviously didn't believe it. Even Lin Xian felt that this was an old liar. Chen Yixin was anxious. He said, "Do you know what the danger is?" He pointed ahead and said, "That place is not somewhere you can enter." There are demons buried under that land. If we can't enter, can you enter? The toad snorted coldly. There is no place in the world that we can't go. Chin Ishin shook his head. You toad, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Do you know what that place is? I can enter that place, but you can't because I am a venerable immortal. Venerable immortal? This time, Lin Xian and the others were stunned. Chin Ishin said, Yes, venerable immortal. What is cultivation for? Isn't it for eternal life? And in this world, there is no way to live forever. Only the immortal world can live forever. And I am from the immortal world. I am a venerable immortal, a realm that you can't imagine. No way. The Crimson Dragon and the others were shocked and asked, Are you stronger than the great emperor? Yes. Can you kill the great emperor in seconds? Chin Ishin shook his head. If I was at my peak, of course, there would be no problem. However, I came here from the immortal world and suffered some injuries. Now, I can only use 1% of my strength, so I am temporarily weaker than the great emperor. TSK, Lin Xian, and the others looked at him with disdain. Chin Ishin's old face turned red. He said, Just a little weaker, but not by much. Supreme, do you know? I have the strength of a supreme now. You have to know, a supreme is also an existence that can sweep through all directions. A supreme is a supreme master that can challenge the great emperor. When you see a living supreme being, shouldn't your faces be filled with admiration? However, the Crimson Dragon and the Toad shook their heads. I was wondering what it was. So, he was just a supreme being. That scared me. Celestial sovereign? What an old liar. Lin Xian's expression was even calmer. He had seen a lot of supreme beings, and he had even defeated 2 of them. Therefore, he wasn't worried at all when facing Jizun. Chin Ishin was dumbfounded. At the very most, these youngsters were only at the quasi-emperor realm. Shouldn't one be envious and excited upon seeing a supreme martial artist, and then faint? What? There was no response at all. I say, do you guys not know how strong a supreme being is? Do you want me to explain it to you? There was no need for that. It was just a supreme being. How rare could it be? The Crimson Dragon and the others waved their hands. Lin Xian also said, Let's go. He was no longer interested. Chin Ishin panicked. Wait, you really can't go there. There are demons there. If you don't believe me, look. He waved his hand, took out a talisman, and flew it forward. The canvas in his hand was also swaying nonstop. Suddenly, the clouds in front of them rolled, and the ground seemed to become transparent. Everyone saw a magical scene. There was indeed a figure sleeping under the ground. It was an enormous creature with blue scales that released a gloomy radiance. Moreover, there were countless chains on its body that locked it up. There was a terrifying great Tao on those chains. There was indeed something. Zhong Lingxiu sucked in a breath of cold air when she saw this scene. Lin Xian and the others also frowned. Chin Ishin saw this scene and smiled. How is it? Do you believe me now? My supreme being's strength is not to be trifled with. In his opinion, these little guys should be afraid this time. Next, they should admire him. However, they didn't. The few of them quickly calmed down from their initial shock. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan to investigate carefully. Then he said, What a terrifying demon beast. It's even stronger than the 9-crowned king. However, it's not a great emperor. The Crimson Dragon also said, Is it very powerful? Competing with my bloodline? He roared at the sky. Roar. The terrifying roar also spread out. The dragon's roar shook heaven and earth like thunder, making one's scalp tingle. The big yellow dog under Chin Ishin's feet was not convinced. It started barking as well. Its voice was extremely sharp. It could compete with the Crimson Dragon's voice. This surprised Lin Xian and the others. This big yellow dog was not ordinary. Chun Yishen's expression changed. He kicked the big yellow dog and said, "Shut up. Do you want to wake him up?" At the same time, he looked at Lin Xian and the others. "You young people don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How can you provoke the demon inside? Come back quickly and stop provoking him." Tisich, "Old man, are you that scared? If you are, then leave. We're not afraid." The toad also jumped up. Its strength was even more terrifying. After all, it had the body of a half-step great emperor. Under these people's shouting, the demonic beast under the ground seemed to be waking up from its deep sleep. A terrifying aura spread across the place. Zhong Lingxiu's expression changed. She said, "Lin Xian, are you okay? Don't provoke any more terrifying beings." Lin Xian said, "Don't worry. I don't care if it's not a great emperor's demonic beast." "Don't care?" Chun Yishen, who was next to him, was stunned when he heard this. "Little guy, do you know how high the sky is and how deep the earth is? You don't care if it's below the great emperor? Even I don't dare to provoke it." Buzz. At this time, the mysterious being under the ground in front of them suddenly woke up. Its eyes opened. It was as if endless sea water surged out and swept through the 9 heavens. At the same time, his huge body also slowly swayed. Only then did everyone realize that it was a crocodile. However, its body was huge, and its aura was terrifying. It wanted to soar into the sky, but the chains on its body restrained it. However, it did not give up, because it heard that someone was challenging it. The big yellow dog stopped barking. Chun Yishen also said, "Oh no, has the Overlord Sea demonic crocodile finally awakened? You guys are in big trouble." The toad said disdainfully, "Aren't you a venerable immortal? It's not even a great emperor. What are you afraid of?" "You old man, you're a liar." However, Chun Yishen shook his head. "What do you know? My ability is not in combat strength. But forget it. Since it's suppressed, it shouldn't come out. Since I've met it, I can't just ignore it. You little guys step back and watch me suppress it." Chun Yishen walked forward. Big Yellow seemed unwilling to go up. Chun Yishen kicked it and said, "Useless thing, come with me." Only then did Big Yellow follow. At this moment, Chun Yishen's robe and white hair danced, as if he had really turned into an old immortal. With a wave of his sleeve, 16 talismans flew over and floated between heaven and earth. "Big Yellow," he shouted in a low voice. Big Yellow reluctantly showed dog blood. Chun Yishen used this dog blood to write a mysterious great Tao on the talismans. Then he shouted coldly, 8 desolate 6 directions, suppress. Chapter 59:31. Those talismans bloomed with mysterious light and flew in all directions. Then they fell down fiercely like a heavenly monument. They wanted to seal the entire world. Below, under the earth, the Overlord Sea monstrous crocodile felt this scene and was completely enraged. The blue scales on its body burst with light. It completely woke up, waved its claws, and tore the earth apart. A super strong force blasted out. The earth shattered, the aura rolled, and the sky cracked. The behemoth walked out, roaring at the sky, and its eyes burst with a fierce light. Oh no, it came out. Chun Yishen's face changed drastically, and he activated the 16 talismans fiercely to continue suppressing it. At this time, the Overlord Sea monstrous crocodile was furious. It spat out a deep-sea fire and rushed over. The deep-sea fire bloomed in the sky and directly tore the 16 talismans apart. Then a claw came over, covering the sky, and the earth like an ancient mountain. It slapped Chun Yishen away. Chun Yishen kept retreating, his face pale. Oh no, the strength of this monster is so terrifying. It is not far from the great Emperor realm. Unfortunately, my ability is not in combat strength. I can't beat this monster. You little guys, hurry up and leave. I can still fight a few moves with it. If you don't leave, you will really die, Chen Yixin reminded Lin Xian and the others next to him. However, when he turned his head, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Xian and the others not only didn't escape but also walked forward. Lin Xian looked at the other party curiously. What a strong power. Is this the Overlord Sea Monstrous Crocodile? Ruzalong, Toad, I feel that it is stronger than the two of you. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. Ben Huang was not convinced. The Toad said, I am even more unconvinced. Come on, let's fight 300 rounds. Roar. The Overlord Sea Monstrous Crocodile lowered its huge head and looked at the Crimson Dragon and the Toad. Disdain appeared in its eyes. The next moment, it opened its bloody mouth and bit downward, trying to devour everything. It's over. Chen Yixin sighed. These little guys are dead meat. At this critical moment, Lin Xian stepped forward and threw out a punch. The golden fist was like the sun as it soared into the sky. Boom! A blood-curdling scream rang out as blood splattered everywhere. The tyrant sea monstrous crocodile retreated. Its huge body landed on the ground and tore the earth apart, forming countless valleys. A crack actually appeared on its body. You dare to swallow me? Are you tired of living? Lin Xian sneered. Humph! Is this all there is to it? The Crimson Dragon and the Toad also sneered. Zhong Lingxiu's face was pale. On the other side, Chen Yixin was completely stunned. Oh my God! What's going on? This young man defeated the sea tyrant monstrous crocodile with a single punch? Was he dreaming? This young man actually possessed such strength. He was even more powerful than him. It was no wonder why the other party was so calm and composed earlier. Even when he saw the hegemonic sea demonic crocodile, he was not afraid. It turned out that the other party was a super strong man. He had misjudged him. The Crimson Dragon came over, patted Chen Yixin on the shoulder, and said, Old man, don't be afraid. We will protect you. Chen Yixin blushed. What a shame. Before, he was still pretending to be an immortal in front of these young people, but it turned out that they were even stronger than him. He was really showing off in front of an expert. Roar. The fallen tyrant, sea monstrous crocodile stood up again. Its eyes were burning as it stared at Lin Xian and rushed over again. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Do you want to die? He directly took out the immortal-killing sword and stabbed it. This time, the tyrant sea monstrous crocodile was even more injured. Its body was pierced through, and a large amount of blood fell down. There was no longer a fierce look in its eyes. Instead, it was replaced by a touch of horror. The young man in front of it was too terrifying. It seemed that he really had the ability to kill it. It turned around and ran. Although its body was huge, its speed was terrifyingly fast. In an instant, it ran away and disappeared. Lin Xian snorted coldly and wanted to chase after it. Chen Yixin, who was next to him, said, Forget it. I told its fortune that it was not destined to die. Even if you chase after it, you can't kill it. Lin Xian stopped and turned his head. He said, Old man, you said that your ability is not in combat strength. Then what is it? Is it just fortune-telling? Chen Yixin nodded. Yes, what I said before was not a lie. This little fairy is going to the heavenly land, which is very dangerous. You are also very dangerous. However, I have detected a great opportunity in both of you. As long as you don't die, you will benefit immensely if you get that opportunity. After Lin Xian and the others heard this, they all took a deep breath. Lin Xian asked, Old man, can you tell us in detail what the opportunity is? Chen Yixin closed her eyes and calculated with her fingers. After a while, he said, Little Fairy's opportunity is related to her Taoist body. As for your opportunity, it is related to your eyes. I can't tell you the details. If I reveal the heavenly secrets, there will be endless trouble. Was it related to his eyes? Could it be the power of reincarnation? Lin Xian was surprised. Suddenly, he remembered that he had felt the power of reincarnation in the heavenly land. However, at that time, his divine body had just reached phenomenal success, and his realm was not stable, so he did not explore it. It seemed that he had to go there if he had the chance. Perhaps his fortuitous opportunity was really there. Lin Xian looked at Chen Yixian and said, "Old man, you said that Lingxiu will be less dangerous with you. Is that true?" Chen Yixian said, "Do I look like a bad person? She will be much safer with me. As for whether she is willing to follow me, that is not certain." Lin Xian looked at Zhong Lingxiu and said, "Are you willing?" Zhong Lingxiu nodded. "I can follow him for a while." "Why?" Lin Xian was surprised. Zhong Lingxiu said telepathically, "Lin Xian, don't worry. He is not a bad person. Besides, there is one more thing. I can feel that my born Taoism aptitude will cultivate faster by his side." Cultivate faster? Lin Xian was stunned. The next moment, he looked at Chen Yixian and activated the eye of reincarnation, trying to see clearly. However, Chen Yixian's body bloomed with a trace of mysterious light. There was an extremely mysterious great Tao and the 8 trigrams around him. "Young man, are you investigating my secret?" "You can't." Chen Yixian shook his head. Lin Xian exclaimed, "The power of the 8 trigrams. Do you know the 8 trigrams mirror?" Lin Xian remembered the 8 trigrams mirror in the extreme Tao world. "You're talking about that mirror?" "Of course, I know it. I made it. However, I fell out with it later." Puffed. Lin Xian was stunned. "What? Fell out?" "The 8 trigrams mirror is an extreme Tao weapon. This old man fell out with the weapon? Is this a joke?" Lin Xian was very confused. However, the 8 trigrams aura emanating from the old man just now was very similar to the 8 trigrams mirror. There must be some connection between the two. This old man should not be from the Nirvana realm. Therefore, he decided to let Zhong Lingxiu follow him. The old man said, "Little fairy, are you willing to take me as your master?" Zhong Lingxiu nodded coldly and said, "I need to think about it. I'll be by your side for a while. I will stay with you for a while to see if you are qualified to be my master." Sigh. This old man has a hard life. Chen Yixian sighed. "He fell out with me because he refined a weapon. Now I have to look at his face if I want to take a disciple. Oh, what a hard life." Chapter 5932. Zhong Lingxiu said goodbye to Lin Xian and left with Chen Yixian for the time being. Lin Xian took a deep breath and said, "Let's go." However, at this moment, a terrifying energy surged from the distance. Lin Xian and the others turned their heads to look. The next moment, they froze. They saw a terrifying light dancing in the sky. It was a purple aura that surrounded many teams. Those teams were extremely powerful. They were wearing armor and had cold faces. They quickly entered the heavenly land. There were so many people. The Crimson Dragon exclaimed. They also frowned. These people didn't seem to be great emperors or supremes. What were they doing there? Lin Xian used his soul power to investigate. He heard some conversations and his face turned ugly. These people were summoned by Great Emperor Zi Luo. It seemed that they were going to do something big in the heavenly land. Something big? The Crimson Dragon frowned. "Kid, what should we do?" Lin Xian's eyes flashed with killing intent. It's time to get rid of Great Emperor Zi Luo. He wasn't a complete great emperor, so it would be much easier to kill him than a real great emperor. Great Emperor Zi Luo had opposed him many times. Lin Xian felt that there was no need to let him continue to exist. However, he had some understanding of the situation in the heavenly land. Great Emperor Zi Luo didn't come alone. There were other great emperors. If he went to him at this time, he would be courting death. He would be surrounded by several great emperors. Therefore, he had to think of a way to lure him out. As for what way? The toad smiled. Don't worry, we're good at this. Let's go back to the deity ground and discuss. We'll make a good arrangement. Lin Xian and the others returned to the depths of the deity ground. They found a place to settle down. Lin Xian said, "What way?" The toad smiled. "Next, watch our performance." "All right." Lin Xian nodded. He wanted to see what these guys were up to. The toad took Little White out and began to arrange his performance. Not long after, some news came from deep inside the deity ground. "Violet Falling Land, you piece of trash, do you dare to come out and fight?" "Auctioning off my shoes." This pair of shoes slapped Great Emperor Ziluo's face. "Who wants him to kneel and be beaten?" There was Emperor Ziluo's blood on it. When the news spread, everyone went crazy. When the people in the depths of the deity ground heard this, their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. "Oh my heavens, Great Emperor Ziluo is trash." Great Emperor Ziluo was slapped in the face by a shoe? What kind of joke was this? Who was this person? So reckless. That was Great Emperor Violet Fall. A great emperor, an unparalleled existence that swept through the 8 desolates. That was the strongest expert of an era. Now, there was actually someone who dared to challenge the emperor. Furthermore, it was a ruthless slap to the emperor's face. How reckless was that? However, not only did the news not disappear, it spread even further. In fact, he had even taken out over 1,000 pairs of shoes. This pair too. Ha ha! These are all shoes that have beaten Great Emperor Ziluo. Hurry up and buy them. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Just who was it that was so reckless? The families and sects in the depths of the deity ground quickly investigated. Soon, they discovered that it was 3 beasts, a toad, a dragon, and a monkey. These 3 demonic beasts were too reckless. At most, they were only quasi-emperors. Where did they get the courage to challenge Great Emperor Ziluo? "Wait," someone exclaimed. "I recognize them. Aren't they Lin Wudi's 3 beasts?" Could this be Lin Wudi's idea? Was Lin Wudi challenging Great Emperor Ziluo? They heard that Lin Wudi had hunted down Great Emperor Ziluo before. Now that he was challenging him, did he mean to fight again? Would the emperor dare to accept the challenge? Last time, it was said that Great Emperor Ziluo was attacked because he was careless. Otherwise, how could he have lost? No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he was no match for the emperor. That's right, Lin Wudi's clamor this time would definitely fail. Just wait and see. He would be killed by Great Emperor Ziluo. Countless voices of righteousness rang out. In their hearts, the emperor was still high and mighty, like a god. On the other side, the subordinate sects of Great Emperor Ziluo were gnashing their teeth in anger. They gathered together, and their eyes were filled with killing intent. How dare they challenge Great Emperor Ziluo? They must be tired of living. Catch them, pull out their tendons, skin them alive, and make them suffer. These families were completely enraged. They gathered their forces and killed them. These people were full of killing intent. When these families moved, the Crimson Dragon and the Toad had already run away. However, the news didn't stop. It continued to spread, not only in the depths of the deity ground, but also in the entire deity ground. Countless people were talking about it, like Tian Shui. When the Luosha Patriarch and the others heard the news, their minds went blank. Lin Gongzi was too bold. When the divine Dragon City heard the news, they cheered. Great, as expected of the Dragon God. Dragon God, good job. Kill that emperor. They were excited. The Hellfire Dragon had a strange expression. This didn't seem like Lin Xian's method. It was more like that toad. It was too disgusting. I wonder if Great Emperor Ziluo would vomit blood when he heard the news. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Some others, such as Spiritual Supremacy, had strange expressions when they heard the news. This Lin Wudi was as arrogant as ever. On the other side, there were also some emperors, such as Ming, Di Bone Emperor, Moon Goddess, Guanghan Deity, and others. When they heard the news, they all fell silent, because they didn't know what to say. He reckoned that the great Emperor Ziluo would be so pissed that he would vomit blood. How pathetic! Great Emperor Ziluo was really trash. He only knew how to sneak attack. As soon as he used the divine toad fist, Ziluo cried. Who was the strongest in the world? Lord Toad was the most awesome. In order to attack Great Emperor Ziluo, the toad created a jingle and quickly spread it all over the path of immortality. In an instant, countless people knew the jingle. After those people heard it, they were dumbfounded. They were really going to fight to the death. How dare he challenge Lord Ziluo? Finally, some of Ziluo's subordinate families were angry. An expert made a move, bringing with him a boundless killing intent that swept over. With a slash of the saber, he wanted to kill the toad. Boom. In the end, it was shattered by the toad's punch. Blood mist filled the air. To think that this toad would be so terrifying that it could kill the Nine-Crowned King so easily. So what? No matter how terrifying he was he a match for a great emperor? Although he had Lin Xian behind him. So what if Lin Xian was strong? Could he really defeat great Emperor Ziluo? Even if he could, so what? Behind great Emperor Ziluo stood Permitha. That was the true supreme overlord, an existence that everyone had to bow their heads to. This Lin Xian didn't know what was good for him. He would definitely be killed in the end. Countless voices of Tao and justice were heard. When Lin Xian heard the news, he was also dumbfounded. Oh my God! How could it be like this? To be honest, this was indeed the best way to provoke Ziluo. After great Emperor Ziluo heard it, he would definitely rush out crazily. However, he really couldn't do it. It was too shameless. Only someone like the toad could do it. It was the right choice to leave such a thing to the other party. Chapter 5933. Damn it, you've gone too far. Kill that damn toad. The three major families were instantly enraged. They began to gather their forces, determined to kill the toad. No one was allowed to continue to challenge it. On this day, in an ancient city junior high school in the deity ground, the toad's voice was heard again. Countless people were stunned and looked at the toad. Who on earth is it? It's really ugly, but it's really bold. The toad was angry. Ugly your ass. This is called ugly handsome. Do you understand? You can't understand my handsomeness. The few geniuses who spoke were almost drowned by the toad's saliva. But at this time, 24 killing swords appeared around the toad with extremely terrifying killing intent, wanting to pierce through the toad. The people around were so scared that they retreated frantically. It's coming. They knew that great Emperor Ziluo's revenge was coming. The 24 killing swords carried an unparalleled aura between heaven and earth. There was a sea of blood surrounding it, as if the gate of hell had opened. They had sealed off all paths of escape. It's over. This toad is dead. I told you not to offend the great emperor. Boom. With a thunderous sound, the 24 killing swords all hit the toad, bursting with dazzling light. However, the toad's body swayed, and the 24 killing swords broke. The toad's body was unscathed. How is that possible? The people around were stunned. What kind of physique does this toad have? It's too strong. The toad sneered. Who is invincible in the world? Mr. Toad is the most awesome. He roared, and his voice swept across the land. The void was mercilessly torn apart, and the 24 figures were knocked back. The 24 top masters were dumbfounded. They retreated. They quickly retreated. But in an instant, they were shrouded by this voice, and their bodies were torn into pieces. All of them died. Why did he send trash like you here? How boring, you're too weak. You can't break my defense at all. Tell great Emperor Ziluo to come here. Look at Mr. Toad's divine fist. He's crying. Boom, boom. The sky shook, the earth trembled, and a murderous aura filled the air. In the sky, 3 dark clouds condensed into a triangle, enveloping the entire ancient city. The people in the ancient city were terrified. They looked up at the sky. Damn, what's that? So many people, so many experts. Had the 3 great clans arrived together? This was a family subordinate to Great Emperor Luo, a super expert from the depths of the celestial land. They were really angry. There were too many people here, at least 1 million of them. The 3 great clans had millions of experts. They were filled with murderous intent, as if they were gods of death. That power pierced through heaven and earth. The toad no longer clamored. It raised its head to look at the sky with a biting cold look in its eyes. In the distance, Whitey and the Crimson Dragon had also arrived. The Crimson Dragon said, "There are a lot of people here, but it's still not enough." You 3 demonic beasts dared to challenge the Emperor. Today will be the day you die. The patriarchs of the 3 great clans walked out from the sky. They spat out thunderous sounds that reverberated in all directions. Men, do it! Boom! The experts of the 3 great clans were on the move. They rushed down in an instant. Retreat quickly. The people in the ancient city all retreated. With 1 million strong cultivators, no one was a match for them. In the blink of an eye, 100,000 experts had descended. It was a sight that sent chills down everyone's spines. Xiao Bai hugged the little gourd and said, "Baby, please turn around." The gourd cracked open, and a flying sword flew out. Boom! The universe was split in half. This flying sword turned into a laser and pierced through the 100,000 strong cultivators. In an instant, the flying sword flew back, and Xiao Bai put away the purple gourd. Those people in the distance were all stunned. What did this little monkey do? Why did the 100,000 strong cultivators in the sky stop? The people of the 3 great clans also frowned. In the next moment, their bodies trembled. They saw the most incredible scene. The bodies of the 100,000 strong cultivators were shattered. Then, they all fell down like meteorites. The space between their eyebrows was all pierced, and their bodies and souls were destroyed. Boom! Boom! The 100,000 strong cultivators fell, and their corpses piled up like mountains. The entire ancient city turned into a hell. Everyone went crazy. Killing 100,000 strong cultivators with one sword strike, this monkey was too terrifying. In the sky, the people of the 3 great clans also had ugly expressions. This was only 110 of their strength. However, they were all killed in an instant. They couldn't bear it. Go. All attack and kill them. Don't hold back. The 3 patriarchs gave the order. The remaining 900,000 strong cultivators rushed over in an overwhelming manner. Do it! The Crimson Dragon shouted in a low voice. He waved his claws, and hundreds of killing formations instantly condensed and formed. Xiao Bai appeared and disappeared unpredictably. His little claws kept slapping these people's faces, making them dizzy. Hundreds of killing formations enveloped tens of thousands of strong cultivators and instantly tore them into pieces. On the Toad side, it was even more terrifying. The Toad Divine Fist, Toad Poison Mist. 1 million strong cultivators fought against the Toad's group of 3. The momentum was very shocking. However, the situation was one-sided. The 1 million strong cultivators couldn't resist at all. They fell one after another, and their blood turned into a blood mist that drifted in the air. As for the Toad's group of 3, they seemed to have turned into killing gods, constantly reaping. After about an incense stick's worth of time, the 1 million strong cultivators had all fallen. In the sky, only 3 old men were left. These were the patriarchs of the 3 great clans. Between heaven and earth, it was terrifyingly quiet. Only the cold wind blew past. The people in the ancient city in the distance were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. What happened? Did all the 1 million strong cultivators fall? This was impossible. right? These people were too terrifying, weren't they? Had they surpassed the Nine-Crowned King? Had they reached the great Emperor realm? How could they be so powerful? These people were really scared out of their wits. The toad said, "Your 3 clans are too trashy. Is this the full extent of your strength? It's really disappointing." The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. "Send a message to that great Emperor Luo. Tell him to get his ass over here. You guys are no match for him." "Are you demons?" The 3 patriarchs were also trembling in fear. They had never seen such a scene. So many strong cultivators were easily killed by the other party. They were so scared that their faces turned pale. One of them, an old man in white, gritted his teeth and said, "If you offend us like this, your end will be very miserable. If great Emperor Luo attacks, none of you will be able to escape." "Just him? He can't kill us. I'm afraid he won't dare to come." The toad sneered. The 3 old men in the sky looked at each other. Then they suddenly attacked. In an instant, they arrived in front of the dark red divine dragon and the other 2. Powerful energy erupted from their bodies. The Crimson Dragon was shocked. He quickly layered hundreds of arrays in front of him. Little White also dodged quickly. Only the toad was as immovable as a mountain. The 3 old men sneered. "Want to leave? It's useless. Today, none of you 3 can escape." Dissolving blood pill. Explode for me. It turned out that before they attacked, the 3 of them had swallowed a pill called the dissolving blood pill. It could stimulate their bloodline and increase their strength. It had reached an unbelievable level. As soon as they attacked, they shocked everyone. It was over. The faces of the spectators changed drastically. They even used the dissolving blood pill. The 3 patriarchs were really angry. Unless a real great emperor came, they would die without a doubt. It's all over. Use your heads as a sacrifice to our clans. The 3 patriarchs' voices were incomparably cold. Chapter 59:34. The 3 patriarchs unleashed a sure-kill attack, causing countless people to be terrified. However, the toad sneered. "Looks like you really don't know what's good for you." Divine Toad Fist. He turned around and threw a punch. The power of a half-step emperor erupted. Immediately, one of the clan leaders was blasted into a bloody mist. As for the other 2, one was enveloped by a crimson dragon with an array formation. The other was knocked unconscious by Whitey. Then the toad attacked again and killed all 3 clan leaders with 3 punches. Were they all dead? When the spectators saw this scene, they were all stunned. They really couldn't believe that the 3 clan leaders had even taken the blood transformation pill. However, they were still no match for the toad. Wasn't the toad's power too terrifying? Lin Woody didn't appear, but the few beasts around him had dealt with the 3 clan leaders. It was really shocking. Lin Woody's strength had already reached such a level. The people of the deity ground were extremely shocked. The battle here quickly spread, so the entire deity ground knew about it. In the depths of the deity ground, there was an uproar. At first, they didn't believe it, but after continuous investigation, they found that it was true. They were completely stunned. Was there really someone who could challenge a great emperor? Great Emperor Luo seemed to be in danger this time. No, they had to quickly report it to the great emperor. They couldn't let him continue to be arrogant. Some clans hurriedly passed the news to great Emperor Luo. In the celestial land, after great Emperor Luo received the news, he was instantly enraged. He roared at the sky, shattering the universe. "Damn it! Damn Lin Woody and the 3 beasts around him. I won't let any of them go." He was murderous. No one had ever dared to challenge him like this, although he had lost to Lin Xian last time. That was because he had been careless. This time, he had regrouped and would definitely win. Take my token and gather the subordinate clans and sections. This time, not only will I kill Lin Woody, but I will also kill him. I also want his divine union and everyone related to him to be completely annihilated. Great Emperor Ziluo's eyes burst with extremely cold, killing intent. The token quickly spread out and landed in the depths of the deity ground. Those families started to move quickly. Then they quickly gathered together. The Purple Cloud Clan and the Purple Thunder Clan were two powerful clans in the depths of the celestial land. They were both subordinates of great Emperor Ziluo. Now that they had obtained the medallion of the emperor, they began to gather their forces. Between the heavens and the earth, they formed a powerful group. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. Among them, there were two figures standing there. They were the clan leader Zi Yun and the clan leader Zi Lei. One of them was surrounded by clouds and mist, looking very mysterious. From the looks of it, it was a woman. The other person was surrounded by lightning and looked extremely violent. This was a handsome man. The two of them stood there like deities, waiting patiently. The people in the distance quickly gathered. The first palace master had come to pay his respects. The second palace master had come to pay his respects. A loud and clear voice sounded. In the next instant, 7 figures knelt on one knee before them. These were the 7 hall masters. They had gathered together to form 7 different powers. "How are the preparations going?" asked the patriarch of the Zi Yun clan coldly. Her voice was extremely pleasant to the ears. The first palace master said, reporting to the patriarch, "The preparation has been completed." "Very good." The patriarch of the Zi Yun clan nodded. The experts gathered by the first palace master were extremely powerful. The experts gathered by the second palace master had a violent flame energy. The third palace master had a terrifying dark energy. Each palace master had a different set of laws. Countless experts had gathered in the third palace master's palace. This time, they had to succeed and flatten the divine union. "Very good. Go ahead and capture those 3 demonic beasts. Suppress them. I want them to suffer a fate worse than death," Clan leader Zi Lei said in a low voice. Next, the other palace masters took action. They led the experts of the other palaces and moved out quickly. Before long, they arrived at the ancient city. Because of the shocking battle that had taken place in the ancient city, countless people had come to watch and gather information. However, when the experts of the 7 great palaces arrived, the entire ancient city became oppressive. A vast power swept out, and a biting cold, murderous aura made everyone's hair stand on end. Heavens, who are these people? They are actually so terrifying. It's the 7 kills. Don't offend them. They are the subordinates of Emperor Ziluo. What? It's actually them? They are extremely terrifying experts. It was said that each of them could kill a group of experts alone. Now that the 7 kills had joined forces, the 7 great palaces teams had all arrived. It seemed like Lin Wudi and his 3 demonic beasts would not be able to escape this time. At this moment, in a forest outside the ancient city, there was a black sky steel. This black sky steel was surrounded by black flames that condensed into a blurry figure. In front of him, there were a few figures who were kneeling on one knee. "Are you sure that Lin Wudi will appear there?" the immortal emperor asked in a low voice. "It should be." It was said that the 3 demonic beasts by his side had killed many people there. Now, the 7 kills had also appeared there. This was a super strength below the emperor realm. It seemed like Lin Wudi would appear there soon. "I understand. Continue to gather information," the immortal emperor said in a low voice. The few figures in front went to gather information. The immortal emperor gritted his teeth. "Damn it, my immortal heart has been taken away. I must find another body. Lin Wudi, your body is the most suitable. I want to return to my peak and become an immortal within 1,000 years. The immortal emperor couldn't wait. If he couldn't become an immortal within 1,000 years, he would be reduced to ashes. At this moment, A figure in a blood-red robe walked over. He said, "Immortal Emperor, if you're in danger, why don't you join forces with us? My father really wants to join forces with you." The Immortal Emperor turned to look at him. He frowned and said, "Wait a moment. I'm from the Supreme Hall after all. I can't join you just yet. But one day when I have no other choice, I'll join you." "I hope so." The blood-red figure slowly disappeared. The Immortal Emperor's expression turned serious. It seemed that there was more than one person after him. Damn it. The Immortal Emperor was infuriated by the fact that he had been targeted by so many people. He had fallen to this state because of Lin Wuti. It was all because of Lin Xian. If Lin Wuti hadn't fought with him, he wouldn't have been injured by the void burial. If he hadn't been injured, he wouldn't have broken the seal and lost the immortal heart. Damn Lin Wuti. One day, I'll catch you and make you wish you were dead. Lin Wuti isn't easy to kill. Let's just sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Another voice rang out, and the spirit sovereign walked out. These two supremacies had a good relationship. Previously, they had joined forces with Mount Immortal. At this moment, the Immortal Emperor was in a dangerous situation. He had asked spiritual supremacy to accompany him. Hearing spiritual supremacy's words, the Immortal Emperor could only nod. This time, I won't be reckless. I'll strike at the best moment. Chapter 59:35. The atmosphere in the ancient city was extremely tense. After the 7 palaces arrived, they sealed off the entire ancient city. They began to search. Once they found the figures of the toad and the other 2, they would immediately kill them. Inside the ancient city, the toad, the crimson dragon, and Little White gathered together. The dark red dragon frowned tightly. "This time, there are quite a lot of people here." The toad said, "What are you afraid of? Just kill them." The crimson dragon said, "Wait, my array is not finished yet. When the time comes, I will give them a super gift." As he spoke, his claws danced. Under the ground, countless spiritual veins rolled with extremely terrifying power. Every time the crimson dragon's palm formed a seal, the power of the array would increase by a little. After the toad finished looking, it said, "Is your array okay? I feel that you are forcing it." The crimson dragon said, "The power of the spiritual veins here is not good. Back then, we used 99 million dragon veins to form a killing array. That was terrifying." Now, although he had borrowed the killing immortal sword, the spiritual veins were still much worse than the dragon veins of the past. However, although he had only set up a simple killing immortal array, it was not something that those people could resist. After the toad heard this, he also gasped. Back then, half a frog was killed like this. Therefore, when he felt the killing immortal array again, his body shook a little. Little White was on the side, contributing spiritual fruits and spiritual wine, constantly providing the crimson dragon. After the crimson dragon ate it, he recovered some of his strength. However, this killing array was too powerful. Back then, they had carefully arranged it and spent a lot of time. Now, the crimson dragon had to complete it in a short period of time. It was indeed very stressful. However, he still completed it within 3 days. When it was completed, the crimson dragon almost fainted. Lin Xian opened the sword world and let him in to rest. At the same time, he said, "These people, I will leave it to you. I will wait for great Emperor Ziluo to come. And I feel that it is not just him. Maybe there will be other supreme masters or great emperors coming. So I have to be in peak condition at all times. Don't worry, leave it to us." Lin Xian nodded. He wasn't too worried. After all, the crimson dragon, toad, and the others were very strong. Whitey was also very elusive, so there wouldn't be too much danger. The 7 great palaces searched for a few days, but did not find anyone. They then snorted coldly, 3 demonic beasts come out. Aren't you very powerful? Didn't he dare to challenge the arch? We are coming. Come out and die. They couldn't find him, so they wanted to use provocation to find him. The first palace master shouted coldly, "If you want to come out, I will suppress you with one hand." The second palace master sneered, "Three little ants, come out and die." After the people in the ancient city heard this, their scalps went numb. They didn't know if those three people would appear. Someone said, "I think he left long ago. Who's so stupid to wait here?" However, right after he said those words, three figures walked out. From the far end of the street, the toad's body was as huge as a small mountain. The crimson dragon danced in the air, looking mighty and extraordinary. Whitey was incomparably adorable. It hugged the small gourd and held the treasure bowl. It made people want to take it for themselves. This little thing was too cute. Countless female martial artists had stars in their eyes. They were really coming. The people in the ancient city widened their eyes in disbelief. These three demonic beasts didn't leave. They came out of their own accord. What were they trying to do? Could it be that they wanted to fight against the 7 great palaces? Impossible. Although they had destroyed the 3 great clans, the 7 great palaces were far more powerful than the 3 great clans. The 7 great palaces were known as the 7 Killers. Each of them was an earth-shattering figure. They were absolutely no match for them. Were they coming? Humph! The 7 great palaces sneered when they saw this scene. They waved their hands, and an overwhelming number of experts followed them. The 7 great palaces were like 7 demon gods. They quickly descended and sealed off the entire area. Their auras swept out in all directions. It was as if the entire ancient city had turned into Azura hell. The first palace master raised his arm high. There was a token in his hand. It was the token of the great emperor. He shouted coldly, "Everyone listen to my order. Destroy this ancient city. Turn everything into ashes." What? The people in the ancient city were stunned. Destroy this ancient city? Didn't that mean that they would be destroyed too? An old man looked up and said, "Why? We didn't offend you." That was it. A young genius was unconvinced. "Why do you want to kill us too?" As soon as he finished speaking, his head flew up and he fell into the sea of blood. The first palace master said in a deep voice, "Do we need to explain our actions to you? Who asked these 3 guys to appear in this ancient city? You're guilty for staying in the same city as them. So, you can all go to hell." A cold voice rang out, causing countless people to fall into despair. Countless experts from the 7 great palaces gathered and formed a killing sword. This killing sword was millions of miles long. It slashed down wildly. It wanted to split the entire ancient city in half. The ancient city shook violently. The people in the ancient city trembled. Some of their bodies had already cracked. They couldn't resist at all. He was really arrogant. The toad's face darkened. The crimson dragon also snorted coldly. Who does he think he is? Is he a god? Can he dominate everything? Can he destroy it as he wants? Did he ask me? If I don't agree, you can't destroy anyone today. Countless powerhouses in the sky controlled the sword of slaughter and slashed down in a frenzy. Heaven and earth shattered, the earth cracked, and countless cities turned into ashes. This sword really split the ancient city in half. Many people in the ancient city were terrified and desperate. But at this time, an array came from afar and enveloped them, resisting the killing sword in the sky. At the same time, a voice sounded, "Those who have nothing to do with it, leave." This was the voice of the Crimson Dragon. "Thank you." After hearing this, the people in the ancient city hurriedly thanked him. Then, they quickly fled into the distance. Want to leave? The 7 great palace masters in the sky were angry. They swept their swords and wanted to kill those who escaped. No matter. The toad roared, "Your enemy is me." He released a poisonous fog to cover the sky, wanting to kill those people. Forget it, let's not care about those people. Kill them. The first palace master roared. They changed their target to the toad, and the other two. At this moment, only the toad, the crimson dragon, and Whitey were left in the ancient city. Lin Xian also came. He hid in the dark and didn't make a move. He looked around vigilantly. He had a feeling that someone was watching him. This was a power that surpassed the Nine-Crowned King. It was at least a supreme. It might even be other great emperors. After all, he was afraid that there were too many enemies. Moreover, he had too many treasures. Everyone wanted to attack him. He couldn't be careless. However, he had already lent his immortal slaying sword to Rizalong. Therefore, the immortal slaying sword array was enough to resist everything. Sure enough, after Rizalong activated the sword array, he said, "7 great palaces? I'll turn you into ashes." He completely activated the immortal slaying sword array. Chapter 5936. The people from the 7 great palaces were incomparably ruthless. They wanted to sweep through everything and get rid of these 3 beasts. Those who were watching the battle in the distance also sighed. They felt that the Toad Trio was dead meat. But at this time, they were stunned and their bodies trembled, because they found that a sword chi suddenly appeared under the Crimson Dragon's feet. The biting cold sword chi cutting through the void. Hundreds of powerhouses from the 7 great palaces were split apart. Their blood turned into a bloody mist. No way. Was there something wrong with my eyes? A sword split hundreds of powerhouses. What kind of swordsmanship was this? They weren't so powerful before. These people were stunned. But it wasn't over yet. In the next moment, the 2nd sword chi rushed out, the 3rd sword chi, and the 4th sword chi. Countless sword chi, with the Crimson Dragon as the center, spread out in all directions. The surrounding powerhouses from the 7 great palaces were pierced, split apart, and turned into a bloody mist. Screams rang out. Everyone looked at this scene, dumbfounded. Finally, someone exclaimed, "This is a formation. A sword formation." But what kind of formation was this? It was so terrifying. Look, that's an elder from the 2nd palace. He was split in half. Also, that's a powerhouse from the 3rd palace. He was pierced and nailed to death in the void. The people who were watching the battle began to tremble. They had experienced how terrifying the people from the 7 great palaces were, but now they were falling in droves. It was really hard to imagine how powerful the formation was. Moreover, this formation was still growing, and eventually it enveloped the space where the ancient city in front was located. The people from the 7 great palaces also went crazy. They found that their geniuses, powerhouses, and elders were falling one by one. No, the great elder was dead. Our number 1 genius had also fallen. Damn it, how could this be? These people had gone crazy. Didn't they sweep through everything? But why? These 3 demonic beasts were actually so powerful. The 3rd palace master roared crazily. Sword formation. How could he have such a terrifying sword formation? Look at that sword. It actually made me feel shocked. The 5th hall master's pupils shrank. The 1st palace master roared madly. "Hurry up and attack. All palace masters, attack with me." He finally couldn't hold it in any longer. The 7 hall masters attacked together. These 7 hall masters were known as the 7 kills. At this moment, 7 killing swords appeared in the hands of the 7 of them as they rushed forward. They wanted to tear apart the array formation to save everything. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. He was a formation master. Also, destroy that killing sword. They rushed towards the Crimson Dragon. They still had the Zhuxian sword. At this moment, the 1st hall master was extremely powerful. Like a shadow, he rushed down in an instant. The sharp blade in his hand had really split open the void. He was too powerful. The 1st hall master was actually so terrifying. The sword in his hand was also a peerless treasure sword. Countless people were shocked. Even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Interesting. However, his focus was not on this. He could feel that someone was really coming. The next moment, he snorted and rushed out. Who is it? Get out here. The cold snort made people's scalps go numb. Countless people's souls were about to split open. In the void, there were a few sneers. In the next moment, Lin Xian rushed to the distance. This place was far away from the ancient city. Lin Xian stood there, surrounded by countless black storms that swept towards him. Lin Xian waved his fists, which turned into 9 suns, and suppressed everything. He was fighting with an unknown existence. On the other side, the Crimson Dragon's battle was still ongoing. The 7 Hall Masters took action and suppressed the situation, so that fewer people died on their side. However, they were not happy. The reason for that was because their people were still dying. They could not suppress this sword array. In particular, the killing sword in the middle made their hair stand on end. How many powerhouses had been killed here to have such a terrifying, murderous aura? At this moment, the Crimson Dragon sneered. This is just the beginning. I'll let you see the true power of the array formation. He waved his claws, and suddenly the god-slaying sword burst out with endless light. Thousands of sword shadows merged on the god-slaying sword and slashed out. The 7th Hall Master was instantly pierced. His eyes widened as he fell from the sky. Was he dead? A Hall Master was dead. This was a peerless attack. Countless people were horrified. The other Hall Masters' pupils also shrank. They quickly retreated and distanced themselves from each other, their faces full of shock. The other party could actually kill them. Damn it. How could this be? Don't retreat. Charge! The 1st Hall Master roared crazily. He definitely did not have much power. His array formation could not last for too long. His guess was right. The Crimson Dragon could not hold on for too long. After all, the number of spirit veins here was limited. However, the power was still extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, another 2 Hall Masters fell. 3 Hall Masters had already died, and the remaining 4 Hall Masters felt their scalps go numb. The 1st Hall Master rushed over crazily. He came to the Crimson Dragon's side. The Crimson Dragon's hair stood on end, and the dragon scales on his body cracked. However, at the critical moment, the toad slapped out with its claws. The toad divine fist directly blocked the sword. The body of a pseudo-emperor exploded, and the 1st Hall Master was sent flying. The toad followed up with another attack. Your opponent is me. The 1st Hall Master roared, and the killing sword kept dancing. Between heaven and earth, the power of killing swept out. However, how could he be the toad's opponent? The toad had swallowed half of the frog. At this moment, his physique was also at the pseudo-emperor level. Therefore, it did not take long for him to kill the 1st Hall Master. There were still 3 Hall Masters left. The Crimson Dragon, Little White, and the toad attacked together. The 3 Hall Masters were in imminent danger. They would probably fall in a few moves. Sure enough, when the last Hall Master fell, everyone in the heavens and earth began to tremble. Those who were still alive in the 7 Hall Masters were terrified. They turned around and fled. However, how could they escape? In the end, the killing formation killed all of them. Between heaven and earth, there was a sea of blood. At this moment, it turned into Azura hell. The Crimson Dragon snorted coldly. You dare to attack us? This is the price. Is there anyone else? Who dares to fight with me? The toad also roared in all directions. At this moment, there were only 3 figures left in front. Those who were watching the battle in the distance also felt their scalps go numb. It was too scary. The world was terrifyingly quiet. No one dared to fight. On a distant mountain peak, 2 figures stood. One of them was a woman surrounded by clouds. The other was a man surrounded by lightning. Among them, Xian frowned and said, Has 7 been killed? Zidian snorted coldly. What a waste. He can't even deal with 3 demonic beasts. I'll kill them. He turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed over in an instant, tearing the void and shattering the universe. Not long after, he came to the ancient city. With a roar, terrifying lightning fell from the sky like a sea of thunder, drowning the world. Not good. The Crimson Dragon's face changed. Their array had no power, and the person who came was even more terrifying than the previous 7 kills. He was even more terrifying than the 7 of them combined. Who was this person? The toad also roared and punched out. He broke through the sea of thunder, but this time, the lightning filled the air and rushed over again. Chapter 59:37. It seems that it's time for me to make a move. Zidian sneered and floated over as well. She was like an auspicious cloud, dancing between heaven and earth. She was not in a hurry. In her opinion, Zilei alone could solve the battle. She was just going to admire and watch the battle. There was still a battle in the distance. Suddenly, Ziyun was stunned. She looked into the distance. There was still a battle in that place, and it was even more mysterious. Who was it? She rushed over. The place where the battle took place was where Lin Xian and the mysterious being were fighting. Lin Xian was surprised. This mysterious existence was very terrifying. It was definitely at the supreme level. It might even be a great emperor. However, the other party did not show up, and he did not see who it was. It was the first time he had seen that aura. The person hiding in the dark was also surprised. He did not expect that he could not take down Lin Xian. Suddenly, he was stunned and turned his head to look. Was someone coming? His figure disappeared, completely disappearing. Lin Xian used his Rinnegan and looked around. He frowned slightly when he found that the person had left. The next moment, he looked up because he found that someone was coming from the distance. It was an auspicious cloud. There was a woman in the cloud. This person was Ziyun. After Ziyun arrived, she found that the battle was over. There was no one around the battlefield. There was only a young man. This man was dressed in black, standing with his hands behind his back. He had a handsome face. What a young man. He was a young genius. However, she could not sense his aura. He should not be too strong. Ziyun was sizing up Lin Xian. She shook her head slightly. In her opinion, the previous battle was definitely not Lin Xian's, because the other party was not worthy. She floated in the void and asked in a deep voice, "Young man, what is your name? Which family are you from? Wasn't there a battle here before?" Her voice was questioning. She thought that the other party would answer obediently. Lin Xian glanced at the other party and ignored him. He did not take this person's strength seriously at all. He was just an ant. How could he answer? Was he ignored? Ziyun was also stunned. She smiled. Interesting. From the looks of it, he was an idiot. Do you think you can be so arrogant in front of me just because you are a young genius? Let me tell you, what is a true expert? In the next instant, she appeared in front of Lin Xian and sent a palm strike at Lin Xian. Young man, I can suppress you with a single move. This is absolute strength. Ziyun planned to teach Lin Xian a lesson. However, when her palm was 10 centimeters away from Lin Xian, it stopped because she couldn't press it anymore. She felt that there was a force on Lin Xian's body that blocked her palm. Not only that, her palm seemed to be in pain. What happened? Ziyun was stunned. Lin Xian smiled. Because you're too weak. You're not strong enough to suppress me. In fact, you can't even block the flames on my body. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile. There was a ball of flames on his body as he rushed out. Above the flames, there was a resplendent power. Not good. There was danger. Ziyun's expression changed. She could naturally feel the terror of this flame. She didn't expect that this young man still had treasures on him. She quickly retreated. Rosy cloud movement technique. She turned into countless clouds, her movement technique appearing and disappearing like a ghost. Even the nine-crowned king couldn't tell which was her real body. How dare you fight back against me? You've angered me. I'll let you suffer my anger. Zi Yun snorted coldly. She was about to attack again. However, in the next instant, a ball of flames arrived in front of her. Impossible! How do you know where my real body is? Zi Yun roared crazily. She wanted to dodge, but it was too late. In the next instant, she was reduced to ashes. Even in death, she didn't believe that she would be killed by a young man. However, before she died, she heard Lin Xian say, "You're really stupid. However, to be able to die in my hands, you should be proud. Because I'm Lin Wudi." What? So it was him. Zi Yun's eyes were filled with despair. Was she killed by Lin Wudi? She was careless. She didn't expect that this young man was actually a legendary existence. A wind blew between heaven and earth, and Zi Yun was no longer there. Lin Xian killed her, as if he was crushing an ant. He didn't care too much. Instead, he turned his head and looked into the distance. He said in a low voice, "The battle there should be over." In front of him, the battle in the ancient city had indeed come to an end. Zi Lei was covered in blood. His expression was ugly. Damn it, he was actually injured and about to die. He couldn't beat these three beasts. The toad sneered. Toad Divine Fist. His fists danced out once again, smashing his opponent into pieces. Finally, he killed the other party. They won all the battles. This time, the powerful families that great Emperor Zi Luo had gathered were all destroyed. As for Lin Xian and the others, they were unscathed. Lin Xian smiled. He felt that it was about time. After slapping Zi Luo's face several times, the great Emperor Zi Luo would definitely come out and fight him. At that time, it would be the death of the other party. Cold killing intent appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. The news here quickly spread. The deity ground was shocked, and the universe was in an uproar. When the news reached the heavenly land, great Emperor Zi Luo directly spat out a mouthful of old blood. Was it all destroyed? Damn it, I'm going to kill him with my own hands. The thunderclap, great Emperor, snorted coldly. You're not allowed to go. Great Emperor Zi Luo said, "Why do you care?" He soared into the sky, ignoring the others. This time, he was going to do it himself. He wanted to save face. Otherwise, which family would submit to him in the future? He killed his way out of the heavenly land. At the same time, on the other side, a snake shadow disappeared. Then, in a huge city in the heavenly land, the Empress opened her eyes. She said, "Zi Luo has left. Should we help Lin Xian?" After hearing this, Lord Alcohol also smiled. Great Emperor Zi Luo's soul was not complete. With Lin Xian's strength, that little guy could completely suppress him now. However, it was difficult to kill a great emperor after all, unless one had overwhelming strength. Now, it was not easy for Lin Xian to kill him. However, we can indeed help him. Let those extreme weapons go. Those extreme weapons had already awakened by themselves and were very strong. If they worked together with Lin Xian's strength, this time they should be able to kill great Emperor Zi Luo. The people on the other side did not know about the situation here, and neither did great Emperor Zi Luo. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come alone. In his opinion, although Lin Xian was strong, they were on par with each other. Moreover, Lin Xian only had one extreme weapon at the moment, so he was not afraid. Lin Xian was also thinking of a way to completely destroy his opponent, but not long after, the might of an extreme weapon came. "Kid, how have you been?" In the sky, a huge 8 trigrams fell. Then, a destructive aura swept across the world, filled with the power of life. As soon as Lin Xian sensed the aura, he immediately rushed out from the ancient city. He exclaimed, 8 trigrams, destruction halberd, an Aquarius of life. The 3 extreme weapons had actually come. It was really surprising. Chapter 59:38. Why are you guys here? Lin Xian was extremely surprised. Gossip said that we received news that Great Emperor Ziluo came alone to kill you. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Therefore, your father and Lord Alcohol decided to let us help you. Together, we can kill Great Emperor Ziluo. Was this what father and master wanted? Lin Xian was also surprised. He clenched his fists. That's great. I wanted to defeat him. Easy. Killing him was difficult. Now that you guys are here, there's no problem. How many resources do you need? I'll let the Divine Union prepare, Lin Xian said. However, the destructive spear shook his head. He said, Kid, there's no need. The three of us are different from the extreme weapons in your hands. We've already awakened and can fight like humans. We don't need you to provide us with power. We can absorb the power of heaven and earth. Lin Xian was astonished when he heard that. It seemed like these weapons were really mysterious. Oh, right, he looked at Gossip and said, 2 days ago, I met someone who said he knew you. Who was it? Gossip was curious. Lin Xian said, his name is Xian. Do you know him? After hearing the gossip, his face immediately darkened. Where is that guy? Come out. I won't let him go. Gossip's body emitted a terrifying aura. She quickly hid her aura to avoid alarming Great Emperor Ziluo. Gossip then suppressed her aura. However, she still said, Kid, do you know where that old man is? Tell me that I'm not done with him. Lin Xian and the others were shocked. Could it be that the old man was telling the truth? Had they fallen out? Toad jumped over and said, I want to know why you two are so hostile. What exactly is going on? This is big gossip. Gossip my ass. Toad was hit to the side by an 8 trigram. Toad grimaced in pain. All right, we don't have time to care about these small things. Let's prepare to discuss. The most important thing is to kill Great Emperor Ziluo. That's right, Life Aquarius said. They had already fought in the Heavens Land. However, other than Great Emperor Ziluo, they also had Great Emperor Baiyu and Great Emperor Thunderclap. With the three of them together, it was impossible to kill them. This time, Great Emperor Ziluo had come out alone. This was the best opportunity to kill him. Next, the group of people began to discuss. Not long after, the 3 extreme weapons were hidden. Only Lin Xian walked on the ground, using them to attract Great Emperor Ziluo's attention. On this day, the sky instantly darkened. Countless terrifying auras filled the air. Then, a palm came crashing down. It completely enveloped the ancient city. Boom and earth-shattering sound rang out as the palm completely shattered the ancient city. Previously, the battle between the Toad and the 7 palaces had only split the ancient city apart. But this time, the ancient city had completely turned into a black hole. Everything was reduced to ashes. This was the strength of a great emperor. It far surpassed everything. Some people in the ancient city had already left because they were afraid of another battle. However, there were still some people who returned. This time, however, not a single one of them managed to escape. All of them were reduced to ashes. Blood mist filled the air, making one's scalp go numb. Several figures rushed out from the black hole. It was Lin Xian and the others. Their faces were cold. This great Emperor Ziluo had gone too far. He had destroyed an ancient city just like that. Unforgivable. Lin Xian was filled with killing intent. Ziluo, who was in the sky, lowered his gaze. Kid, I've finally found you. Get over here and accept your death. His eyes were filled with boundless killing intent. And you 3 little ants, when I catch you later, I'll pull out your tendons and skin you alive. I'll make you wish you were dead. It was these 3 beasts that had slapped him in the face. He couldn't forgive them. He wouldn't let these people go. TSK, who do you think you are? You only dare to be arrogant in front of us? When I become a great emperor, I'll kill you with one slap. The toad sneered. Great Emperor Ziluo was furious. He threw a punch. The toad's hair stood on end. Although he had the body of a half-step great emperor, he was still no match for Great Emperor Ziluo. He roared and blocked the palm. He was sent flying, and cracks appeared on his body. Lin Xian asked, "Are you okay?" The toad gritted his teeth. "I won't die, but kid, I might not be his match." Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, leave it to me. The three of you should hide first." He waved his hand and put the three of them into the sword world. Then Lin Xian raised his head and looked ahead. He said in a deep voice, "Great Emperor Ziluo, you still dare to come? Last time, I chased you all over the world. Don't you feel ashamed that you've been defeated? Everyone in the universe saw it. Whoever dares to laugh at me, I'll kill him. And I was careless last time. Now I'll go all out. I won't give you a chance." With a roar, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. All the creatures in the deity ground looked up in horror. Heavens, the aura of a great emperor. The great emperor was furious. This is the power of Great Emperor Ziluo, right? I wonder who he's going to fight with. The purple radiance that filled the sky was like a meteor that fell down crazily. On the other side, Lin Xian also made his move. The 9 suns surrounded him, shattering the meteors that filled the sky. It was the 9 yang divine body. Countless people raised their heads and looked into the distance. It was Lin Xian. Great Emperor Ziluo was fighting with Lin Quan again. Heavens, these two people are really going to fight to the death. Last time, Great Emperor Ziluo was at a disadvantage. I wonder if he can turn the situation around this time. Countless people were discussing. The battle ahead was extremely dangerous. This time, Great Emperor Ziluo went all out. All kinds of laws filled the air, vast and boundless, suppressing Lin Xian. "Kid, do you see that? That's my true power." Lin Xian snorted and shattered the laws in front of him with a punch. At the same time, his body swayed, and he quickly dodged the other party's immortal qi. Great Emperor Ziluo's body was surrounded by immortal qi. This immortal qi was extremely powerful. It's useless. Take out your great dragon sword, or an extreme weapon. My immortal qi is stronger than before. Great Emperor Ziluo's expression was cold. He was like an immortal spirit. Immortal light erupted from his body. Lin Xian's divine flame jumped and fought with him. The corners of his mouth curled up. "Do you think I'm the only one who's fighting this time? This time, we've prepared carefully. Your death is coming. You found helps?" Great Emperor Ziluo frowned. "Who is it?" He looked around, but he didn't find anything. "Those you found are all trash. As long as it's not a great emperor, I'm not afraid of anything." He didn't believe that Lin Xian could find a powerful enemy. At this moment, the void broke open and a terrifying aura burst out. The entire world had turned completely black. A ray of piercing light shot towards Emperor Ziluo. Great Emperor Ziluo's expression changed. "What kind of aura is this? It's so terrifying." He raised his hand and slapped out. Immortal qi surrounded him. The two collided, and the sky collapsed. Chapter 59:39. When the two collided, a dazzling light burst out. It was like an eternal light that cut across the entire deity ground. At this moment, countless martial artists looked up at the sky. They were shocked. Then they saw a figure fly out and land on the ground. It formed a black hole. Someone exclaimed, "Oh my God, isn't that Great Emperor Ziluo? He was sent flying." Who was it? Great Emperor Ziluo landed on the ground, creating countless large cracks in the ground. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The wind howled. "Ah!" Great Emperor Ziluo roared at the sky and walked out of the ground. He was full of killing intent. His eyes were filled with extreme anger, as if he could destroy the 9 heavens. He was really crazy. Someone attacked him. Who was it? Don't let me catch you, or I'll make you wish you were dead. But in the next moment, he was stunned because he realized that it wasn't a person who attacked him, but a weapon. It was a black robe with extremely terrifying great Tao surrounding it. Destructive power surged in all directions. One look at it, and one soul would collapse. Damn it! Great Emperor Zi Luo rushed over crazily. He couldn't stand being sent flying by a weapon. He wanted to shatter the weapon. Immortal Qi kept erupting from his body. The destructive spear also roared, and destructive power surged. The two of them fought again. Falling flower sword technique. Great Emperor Zi Luo waved his finger, and countless sword Qi danced between heaven and earth like cherry blossoms. They all carried terrifying immortal Qi, and each sword could pierce through heaven and earth. They hit the destructive spear, making clanging sounds. The destructive spear was even crazier and more powerful. He had the power to destroy heaven and earth. A terrifying aura erupted. The two of them fought. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged 100 moves. Great Emperor Zi Luo was really angry. He reached out a large palm, surrounded by immortal Qi. The palm fell fiercely. He wanted to suppress the destructive spear. He could see that it was just an extreme weapon. The palm fell fiercely. It enveloped the destructive spear. Oh no! Lin Xian's expression changed. He wanted to help, but in the next moment, Great Emperor Zi Luo grunted and quickly retracted his palm. There was a crack on his palm, and blood kept dripping. It carried a destructive aura. Lin Xian was shocked. He was actually injured? Great Emperor Zi Luo was enraged as well. His eyes were filled with shock. To be honest, he couldn't accept being injured by a weapon. The crack on his palm slowly healed. Great Emperor Zi Luo also took out his extreme Tao weapon. It was a long sword surrounded by lightning, sort of chasing lightning. The sword slashed out and shrouded the destruction spear. Thereafter, the sword of lightning struck out crazily, sending out terrifying sword techniques that covered the entire sky. The light on the destruction spear dimmed, as if it had been severely damaged. It was a good opportunity. Emperor Zi Luo's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He had to take advantage of this opportunity to break this weapon. But just at this critical moment, another terrifying light shone. Then, the 8 trigrams came crashing down. All the sword lights were blocked. In the next moment, the 8 trigrams floated between heaven and earth. On the deity ground, countless people were terrified. They felt the power of another extreme weapon. The second item was an extreme Tao weapon. What is it? Was that a gossip? They were shocked. Great Emperor Zi Luo frowned. 2 extreme Tao weapons, and they didn't seem to be ordinary extreme Tao weapons. They didn't need to be controlled to attack, and each attack was full force. Could it be that they were self-awakened extreme Tao weapons? How did they appear here? Between heaven and earth, an emerald light appeared. Then, the aura of life shrouded the destruction spear. The destruction spear's injuries quickly recovered. There was more. Countless people exclaimed. Great Emperor Zi Luo's pupils constricted. In the next moment, he saw a treasure bottle appear. There was a powerful life force on the bottle. It was another extreme Tao weapon. 3 extreme Tao weapons circled between heaven and earth, shrouding Great Emperor Zi Luo. Lin Xian also walked out, holding the sky-devouring jar in his left hand and the dragon sword soul in his right. There was a piercing light in his eyes. He said in a low voice, "Today, this will be your burial ground. If you have any last words, leave them." 3 extreme Tao weapons, Lin Xian's great success divine body, the sky-devouring jar, and the dragon sword soul. These powers were too shocking. They were prepared to deal with Great Emperor Zi Luo together. Countless people were shocked. Great Emperor Ziluo's expression was extremely ugly. No matter how strong he was in danger this time. Those in the deity ground were trembling. The universe outside was also terrified. Countless people prostrated themselves on the ground. Those from the great emperor family looked up at the sky. Those from the Yi family exclaimed, "What a terrifying aura!" It came from the deity ground. There were at least 4 extreme Dao weapons. No, 6, 7 of them? How could there be so many? They were all crazy. Those from the Gu family were also shocked. The void mirror rose into the air and shot out a ray of space law. In the next moment, some blurry images appeared on the void mirror. The Gu family leader exclaimed. It was Lin Gongzi. Gu Santong, Gu Yanran, and the others also rushed over. They stood under the void mirror, shocked. It was really Lin Xian. Gu Santong exclaimed. Was the purple figure opposite him the great emperor? Yes, it was the great emperor. The Gu family leader's expression was grave. He said, "It seems that Lin Gongzi wants to kill a great emperor." What? Gu Yanran was stunned. In her mind, the great emperor was an invincible existence. They were supreme overlords who could sweep across the world. Now Lin Xian wanted to kill such an existence. Could he do it? Let's wait and see. I believe in him. Gu Santong clenched his fists. Not only them, but also the phoenixes, the Kirans, and the Kuan Pangs. Everyone was watching. Those from the deity ground were also shocked. This was a peerless battle. It was shocking. The void mirror, together with the void armor, created a space crack and flew into the distance. Let me lend them a helping hand. The first thing that came to great Emperor Ziluo's mind was to leave. He knew that he had been tricked. Even he couldn't resist so much power. But in the next moment, the world around him changed. A space crack appeared above his head, as if separating heaven and earth. What was that? He was shocked. Even 8 diagrams, and the destructive spear exclaimed. Lin Xian smiled. The power of space. It was the Gu family's void mirror. That's great. He said, don't worry. This is the power of space. With it, great Emperor Ziluo won't be able to escape. Also, the reinforcements outside won't be able to come in a short time. Let's kill him quickly. The power of space? That's great. The destructive spear sneered. Attack. An extremely terrifying aura erupted from their bodies. A great battle broke out in an instant. Great Emperor Ziluo roared. Get out of my way. Immortal chi erupted from his body as he exerted his power to the extreme. The lightning sword in his hand swept in all directions. He couldn't fight for a long time. He had to tear open an exit. Chapter 5940. Great Emperor Ziluo had become even more terrifying after using his full strength. Like a primordial beast, he swept away the 3 extreme weapons. The 3 extreme grade weapons also erupted with terrifying extreme grade power as they charged forward. A great battle broke out in an instant, the sound of explosions reverberating in all directions. Heaven and earth cracked, the entire deity ground shook. Countless people were terrified. Do you really think that you can suppress me with just the likes of you? Great Emperor Ziluo roared at the sky, his voice like thunder, his body glowing with immortal light. But at this moment, a sword slashed down. The immortal slaying sword slashed down from the sky with unstoppable power. This was Lin Xian's attack. Great Emperor Ziluo was hit in the back, his body swayed, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He turned his head, his eyes bursting with piercing, killing intent. Lin Wudi, how dare you hurt me? I'll kill you. He rushed over quickly. Lin Xian snorted. The immortal slaying sword swayed, the dragon-shaped sword chi dancing in the air. At the same time, the sky-devouring jar created a terrifying vortex to devour his opponent's power. The battle between the two shook heaven and earth. Lin Xian's body was very strong. He was not afraid of his opponent at all. At this moment, The three extreme weapons erupted again. The Aquarius of Life released the aura of life, enveloping Lin Xian and the two extreme weapons. The 8 trigrams attacked, the 8 trigrams suppressed. The Destruction Spear's attack was also terrifying, with destructive power. Finally, one of Great Emperor Ziluo's arms was broken, his blood dripping down. A single drop of the Great Emperor's blood was enough to crush the myriad of worlds. Endless cracks appeared in the sky. Lin Xian looked at his opponent and said coldly, "It's no use, Ziluo. Although you're an emperor, your soul is incomplete, and you're too conceited. You came alone. Today I'll make you stay here." Hearing those words, Emperor Ziluo's face turned incomparably cold. The current situation was not good for him. It was very bad. It looked like he was going to fight to the death. "I didn't want to use my strength against you guys. But you don't know what's good for you, so don't blame me." Emperor Ziluo's immortal qi continued to revolve around him as he swallowed the strand of immortal qi. In the next instant, the power in his body burst forth, and the injuries he had sustained began to heal rapidly. His figure grew even taller, and his purple hair fluttered in the wind. A piercingly cold light burst out from his eyes, and it was even more terrifying than the divine blade. What was going on? He could feel that Great Emperor Ziluo's aura had become stronger. The people outside were terrified. What on earth happened? Even Lin Xian's pupils shrank. Did he swallow the immortal qi? Gossip said, "Be careful. This guy is going all out." He actually swallowed the immortal qi. "We can't hold back anymore." Destructive battle spear, and the others nodded. In the next moment, they also erupted with an even more terrifying might. Boom! Suddenly, Emperor Ziluo's body vanished. When he reappeared, he was right in front of Lin Xian. The lightning blade in his hand slashed down from the sky, and lightning crackled around it. Lin Xian's pupils also shrank. What a fast speed! His opponent was indeed stronger than before. He raised the immortal killing sword to block. The two swords collided, and a bright light burst out. Lin Xian was shaken and kept retreating, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His opponent's strength had indeed become stronger. Emperor Ziluo looked down from above and said, "Do you see? This is my real power. Today, I will kill you with my own hands." The lightning blade in his hand turned into countless lightning bolts and rushed over again. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. He exerted the 9-yang divine body to the extreme, and the sky-swallowing jar floated above his head. He held the immortal killing sword with both hands and waved it crazily. The immortal killing sword kept changing. And in the end, it became 1,000 meters long, like a celestial sword. Under the power of the body, the whole world was split open. Countless large cracks spread out in all directions. Emperor Ziluo was also smashed, and in the end, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it! He found that Lin Xian's strength had also become stronger. How was this possible? Had his opponent not used his full strength before? Sword qi exploded from Lin Xian's body. He said coldly, "It's useless. No matter what you are, you can't escape death today." With that, he rushed up again, and the two fought again. The destruction spear turned into a beam of light and instantly pierced over. In an instant, it pierced through Emperor Ziluo's body. Emperor Ziluo was nailed in the void, and he let out a miserable cry. Large amounts of blood dripped down, and the sky fell, and the earth cracked. Damn it! Emperor Ziluo roared crazily. He turned around and attacked, and the destruction spear was knocked back. But then, the sky-swallowing jar came over again, and swallowed half of his body. At the same time, the 8 trigrams kept spinning, forming a mysterious heavenly G that shrouded him. Boom, boom, boom. A deafening sound rang out, and Emperor Ziluo kept retreating. Many of the bones in his body were broken, and many cracks were all over his body. One look at him would make one's scalp tingle. This was great, the destruction spear, and the others were overjoyed. Lin Xian's lips also curled up into a smile. This was a serious injury. Even if his opponent was a great emperor, it wouldn't be good. Damn it. Emperor Zi Luo half knelt in the void, surrounded by a sea of blood. His entire face was hideous. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He had been injured by his opponent, and severely at that. This was unforgivable. Immortal technique, purple chi from the east, sky-swallowing diagram. A low voice rang out. Emperor Zi Luo's palms kept forming seals, and suddenly a cloud of purple chi rushed out of his body. In the distance, there was also a purple cloud that was spreading toward them. The two formed a sky-swallowing diagram. This sky-swallowing diagram spun above Emperor Zi Luo's head mysteriously. Refine it for me. Emperor Zi Luo raised his hands to the sky and controlled the sky-swallowing diagram to rush over quickly. Not good. Everyone be careful. The Aquarius of Life said, this sky-swallowing diagram can refine everything. Don't let it envelop you. It's useless. Die. The sky-swallowing diagram was the first to envelop the 8 diagrams, and 8 diagrams rolled violently. 8 diagrams light shot out to block. Emperor Zi Luo's body was covered in blood. He said coldly, it's useless. My sky-swallowing diagram can melt all metal weapons. You are no exception. Damn it. When the Destruction War Spear saw this, it rushed over in an attempt to save the other party. You can come in as well. The sky-swallowing diagram rolled up, and the Destruction Spear was also swept over. It wanted to refine the 2 extreme Dao weapons. The 2 extreme Dao weapons resisted fiercely, shooting out a terrifying light. But the purple sky-swallowing diagram was like a cloud. No matter how it rolled, it wouldn't break. As for the 2 extreme grade weapons, the extreme grade light on them quickly dimmed. This scene made everyone feel despair. Could it be that the great sovereign weapon could be refined as well? Heavens, it can't be, right? Emperor Zi Luo was simply too powerful. No wonder he was a great emperor. No one could compare to him. Was Lin Wuyi going to fail this time? Countless voices of Dao debate rang out. Lin Xian's eyes burst with a fierce light. He snorted coldly. Watch me break your sky-swallowing diagram. Chapter 5941. Lin Xian held the god-slaying sword, and the power of the great dragon sword soul flew out. The two merged and formed an earth-shattering light. This sword chi was extremely terrifying, causing everyone to tremble in fear. Even great Emperor Zi Luo's expression changed. The power of the great dragon sword soul, he didn't dare to be careless either. He activated the sky map to the extreme, and then said, refine it. Purple gas filled the air, and the sky map kept expanding, as if it wanted to monopolize the entire sky. Lin Xian waved his arm and slashed out with his sword. The two collided, and an extremely terrifying light burst out. The purple mist began to envelop Lin Xian's sword energy, trying to refine it. Even the light on it had dimmed. Lin Xian snorted, it's useless. My sword is extremely sharp. Nothing can stop it. Destroy it. A cold voice rang out, making people's ears bleed. The purple mist was cut open. As if it had disappeared, Lin Xian attacked again and slashed out again. The second and third slashes. Each slash was earth-shattering. The shocking sword light became more and more terrifying, and it fell from the sky. After a few slashes, the sky map was cut open. The 8 diagrams and the destructive halberd also rushed over. The destructive halberd carried a terrifying black aura. It was as if it was going to destroy the entire universe. It struck out fiercely, aiming for great Emperor Zi Luo's head. The 8 diagrams used the power of the seal to attack Great Emperor Zi Luo's limbs. The two attacked together, and together they sent Great Emperor Zi Luo flying. This time, Great Emperor Zi Luo's body was torn into pieces. When the people in the distance saw this, they trembled in fear. A great emperor was beaten into such a miserable state. It was unbelievable. One should know that great emperors were godlike existences in their hearts, but now it had been beaten to pieces by someone. Lin Wuyi was going against the natural order. Lin Xian and the others, however, frowned deeply. How could the other party not die in such a situation? One had to know that Lin Xian did not hold back, nor did he hold back the few extreme weapons. But even so, he was still alive. Fortunately, a few extreme weapons had arrived. Otherwise, Lin Xian alone would have been able to defeat them easily. Killing the other party would be difficult. It's useless. You can't kill me. Immortal qi swirled around Emperor Zi Luo, and his shattered body healed once again. As a martial monarch, I am immortal and indestructible. Only the power of time can wear me down. But you guys can't do it. Did he come back to life? Everyone was terrified. Lin Xian also snorted coldly. If the emperor was truly undying and indestructible, you wouldn't be hiding in such a state. In this world, there was no such thing as an immortal existence. Today, I will personally kill you. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the dragon-shaped sword qi on his body became even more terrifying. It was as if he had turned into a peerless sword god, the divine sword of 9 suns. The divine fire of great success flew over quickly. The power of the immortal slaying sword, the great dragon sword spirit, and the divine fire of 9 suns merged together. They formed the divine sun sword. Slash. The sword qi of extreme yang slashed down. Terrifying flames danced, and a terrible dragon roared. Lin Xian's sword was extremely powerful. The 3 extreme grade weapons let out a furious roar, as well as they charged over at lightning speed. The 2 sides fought again. Not long after, Emperor Zi Luo was sent flying again. At the same time, he was penetrated by Lin Xian's sword, and his body was shattered again. But soon, he recovered. Then, after 30 moves, he was shattered again. Was he still not dead? Lin Xian roared, and an extremely cold light appeared in his eyes. In the process, he was also hit by a few of his opponent's swords. The terrifying lightning tore his body apart. The divine blood of 9 suns dripped down. It was as if the sun had fallen into the human world. Endless flames spread. The people in the deity ground trembled in fear. How was this a battle between humans? This was simply a battle between gods. Lin Xian made a move. He struck out the Taiji diagram. He also used the Rinnegan. He even summoned the phantom of the reincarnation sword. It slashed fiercely at Emperor Zi Luo's soul. Emperor Zi Luo blocked the first slash, but his soul was still injured by the second slash. He held his head and screamed as if he had gone crazy. This was a good opportunity. Everyone attacked together. Lin Xian and the extreme weapons attacked wildly. Emperor Zi Luo's power was decreasing rapidly. Although he was a great emperor, he was not really immortal. When his strength was exhausted, he would be in real danger. This time, he felt a fatal danger. He had to leave. He burned his immortal qi. The immortal qi on Emperor Zi Luo's body suddenly burned. His power also erupted in an instant. As if he had turned into an immortal, he rushed out. Oh no, he was going to leave. The 8 trigrams quickly enlarged and covered the entire sky. Pressurize. The power of the 8 trigrams formed a great world that kept spinning. Boom. However, after burning his immortal qi, Emperor Zi Luo was like a demon god. He blasted the 8 trigrams away. The 8 trigrams became dim and lightless. The Aquarius of life hurriedly released its aura of life to envelop the 8 trigrams. The destructive halberd also rushed over. The power of great destruction. His body grew infinitely larger until he was 1,000,000 miles tall. It was as if an immortal artifact had fallen from the immortal realm, shattering the sky. Boom! Emperor Ziluo was stopped. His chi and blood roiled. He attacked wildly, punching in all directions. His sword swept in all directions. The destructive halberd was also sent flying. There was even a sword mark on it. The immortal chi on his body decreased a lot, but there was still some. He could still fly continuously. He rose into the air and turned his head to look down. You made me look so pathetic. I won't let you go. Emperor Ziluo gritted his teeth. He decided that after returning, he would cooperate with Emperor Baiyu, the Thunderclap Emperor, and the 3 great emperors to attack together. He would come back for revenge, kill Lin Wuti, and destroy several extreme weapons. Do you want to leave? I haven't agreed yet. You can't go anywhere today. Lin Xian turned into a stream of light, instantly tearing through the void. He charged towards Emperor Ziluo. Dragon scales grew on his body as if he had turned into a divine dragon. His dragon claws held the immortal slaying sword, the Taiji diagram, and the heaven-swallowing jar. He charged over fiercely. Boom, boom. Emperor Ziluo was beaten back by Lin Xian. He spat out blood. Damn it, you're courting death. He, with the power of burning immortal chi, rushed out crazily and tore apart the dragon scales on Lin Xian's body. It brought a rain of blood. Lin Xian's face was pale. He roared crazily. He was also seriously injured. However, he still managed to pin down the other party. They attacked together. The 3 extreme weapons combined to deliver an extreme attack. On Lin Xian's side, he struck out with the great dragon sword. Destroy. Kill. Emperor Ziluo also roared crazily. He was going all out. All the immortal chi was gathered by him to deliver a peerless attack. The 3 attacks collided, forming a destructive storm that swept across all directions. At this moment, an extremely bright light shone, spreading throughout the deity ground and illuminating the universe. At this moment, all the worlds in the universe raised their heads and looked into the distance. Who would win? Who would lose? Chapter 5942. The earth-shattering battle was earth-shattering. Countless people looked up in horror. They wanted to know what the result was. Did Lin Wuti win again? Or was the great emperor better? In fact, they thought that the great emperor would definitely win. After all, in their hearts, the great emperor would always be a godlike existence. No matter how strong Lin Wuti and the others were, they probably couldn't do anything to the great emperor. Only after a long time did it slowly recover. Everyone widened their eyes and looked carefully. They sucked in a breath of cold air. The reason for that was because they saw Lin Xian standing there with an ice-cold expression. Around him, several extreme weapons were also floating, emitting a terrifying extreme aura. Where was great Emperor Ziluo? Where was he? Everyone was surprised. They didn't see great Emperor Ziluo's figure. Could it be that he had left? No, look at what's on the ground. Finally, an elder exclaimed. Everyone turned their heads to look. In the next moment, they saw a figure lying on the ground. That figure was torn into pieces, and the immortal chi on his body slowly disappeared. Could it be that he was great Emperor Ziluo? What? That was impossible. Countless people were stunned. Great Emperor Ziluo was already injured to this extent. It was too unbelievable. Great Emperor Ziluo fell to the ground. His eyes moved with difficulty. He wanted to struggle to get up, but he realized that he couldn't do it. In the end, when the immortal chi on his body disappeared, he finally let out an unwilling roar, vanished into thin air. Boom! Above the 9 heavens, a rain of blood suddenly fell. Thunder erupted, and heaven and earth mourned. This kind of heaven and earth anomaly stunned countless people. The great emperor was dead. Had a great emperor fallen? It happened right in front of them. They couldn't believe it. The great emperor was a godlike existence in their hearts. He was the strongest person in every era. Great Emperor Ziluo was a famous figure who dominated the world. Now, he was finally killed by someone. Moreover, he actually died in the hands of Lin Xian. This was an earth-shattering thing. Countless people knelt on the ground. The rain of blood was still falling in the sky. The entire universe was filled with a sea of blood. Countless people felt a sense of horror. The entire sky seemed to have been torn open. Was he dead? The toad, the crimson dragon, and the others also flew out from the sword world. When they saw this scene, they were also shocked. A great emperor had died in front of them. Lin Xian also took a deep breath and grabbed Emperor Ziluo's storage ring. Then he said to them, "Let's go." They soared into the air, wanting to leave. At this time, heaven and earth were split open again. Another huge hand came, covering the sky and covering the earth. His palm also carried immortal chi, another great emperor who dared to kill me, the Nirvana Emperor. The loud and clear voice was extremely terrifying. This giant hand was too terrifying. It contained boundless power, causing the pupils of Lin Xian and the others to shrink. This person was very scary. Lin Xian roared and prepared to counterattack. However, at this moment, a black sword chi appeared between heaven and earth. It directly blocked the giant hand of the heavens. The huge hand roared, "Who dares to stop me?" The black sword chi turned into a massive whirlpool, and it said, "If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Come to the heavens. I'll have a good fight with you. I'm afraid you won't have the chance." Another fist came at him. The second great emperor attacked. Obviously, the Nirvana Emperor was angry. However, the black vortex had completely turned into a pitch-black sword, the devouring sword. It stopped the two great emperors. "Lin Xian, you guys go first." Lord Alcohol's voice sounded. Lin Xian nodded and waved his hand. "Let's go." They broke through the void and disappeared without a trace. The giant hand in the sky and the fist roared, wanting to chase after them. Immortal chi exploded above. However, this devouring sword was extremely terrifying. It turned the entire sky black. It seemed that the blood rain in the sky was about to disappear. In the end, the two great emperors of the Nirvana Emperor were angry. Devouring sword. "Very good. Just you wait, this matter is not over. I'll make you pay back 100 times. Their voices resounded in all directions. The two giant hands slowly disappeared. "I'll accompany you anytime." The devouring sword also slowly disappeared. The whirlpool in the sky disappeared, but the blood rain continued to fall. The fall of a great emperor caused the world to mourn. News of this matter spread throughout the universe. Everyone knew that a great emperor had descended. However, which great emperor had fallen? They didn't know. They didn't know who had killed him. Soon, the news spread. They were shocked. What? Lin Wudi had killed a great emperor of the Nirvana Emperor? Heavens, this guy was too heaven-defying. Lin Wudi had become so strong. Countless people were shocked. The Divine Union and Divine Dragon City were overjoyed. Yi family, Gu family, and the others gasped. Lin Wudi was so strong. Of course, some people sneered. So what if he had killed a great emperor? Even if he became a great emperor, he would still be dead. No one had ever survived challenging the Nirvana Emperor. Just wait, he would end up in a miserable state. There were all kinds of discussions, but no matter what, this matter was too shocking. Lin Xian wasn't a great emperor, but he had killed one. He was enough to become a legend. Countless people looked up to him. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others returned to the Divine Union and quickly went into seclusion to recover. This time, they were injured, but it wasn't fatal. Soon, they came out. When they came out, they looked at each other and laughed. Great. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. He had finally killed Great Emperor Zi Luo. The toad said. However, it was really dangerous. 2 more heavenly hands had appeared behind them. Fortunately, the void mirror had created a spatial crack. Otherwise, the Nirvana Emperor would have come to their rescue. Lin Xian also nodded. Although he was very strong now, he felt that it wasn't enough. The Nirvana Emperor was really terrifying. Therefore, he had to increase his strength. He had to break through. He had to become a great emperor. He even wanted to become a true god. Look at this guy's storage ring. What good things were there? Lin Xian opened Great Emperor Zi Luo's storage room. Suddenly, a mountain of treasures fell out. The entire divine union was almost filled with treasures. The people around him were shocked. Who had opened the heavenly emperor's treasury? Countless people were dumbfounded. Then, their eyes turned red, and their eyeballs almost fell out. *CK. There were too many treasures. Even Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. He had been to the great emperor's tomb a few times. However, Great Emperor Zi Luo had more treasures than him. Indeed, a living great emperor had many treasures. Very good. With so many powerful resources this time, his strength could definitely increase. Furthermore, Great Emperor Zi Luo cultivated immortal qi. He definitely had many methods and resources to cultivate immortal qi. This way, the immortal qi seed in Lin Xian's left eye could also increase its power. Everyone, don't stand on ceremony. Take whatever you need. Lin Xian smiled at the few extreme weapons. After all, these people had put in a lot of effort this time. Then, they started to divide the treasures. Chapter 59:43. In the sword world, Lin Xian sat in a lotus position, divine flames spreading all over his body. The divine flame seed between his eyebrows was becoming more and more mysterious. It was about to form a true divine flame. In his left eye, there was also a ball of mysterious energy circulating, making Lin Xian seem even more mysterious. Lin Xian waved his hands, and the divine flame in his left hand jumped. The ball of energy in his right hand spun rapidly, forming a small vortex. In front of him, a mountain of treasures poured into the ball of energy. This made the ball of energy even more resplendent. Before long, Lin Xian opened his eyes. The resources in front of him had been depleted. As for Lin Xian, he was extremely satisfied. This ball of aura was naturally the immortal qi seed. He sensed it and realized that his strength had increased a little. However, it was impossible to break through. After all, at his level, one more breakthrough, and his strength would undergo an earth-shattering change. Of course, the difficulty was also frighteningly high. After walking out of the sword world, the apex weapons had already left. They also took some resources and flew back. Toad, Crimson Dragon, Little White, and the others also chose some resources and started to cultivate in seclusion. As for the rest, they gave some to the Divine Union. They also took some to Divine, Dragon City. As for the rest, he would store them for emergencies. Next, they had to make a trip to the Azure Land. Lin Xian made a decision. Previously, he and Zhong Lingxiu had gone there. However, they met Chen Yixin halfway. Later, they met Emperor Zi Luo's people. Only then did they make a move and kill Emperor Zi Luo. Zhong Lingxiu also left with Chen Yixin. Back then, Chen Yixin had said that Zhong Lingxiu, and he had entered the Azure Land with opportunities. However, it was extremely dangerous. Zhong Lingxiu's opportunity was related to her Dao body, while his was related to his eyes, the Rinnegan. Was this the power of reincarnation? Lin Xian took a deep breath. If what Lin Xian said was true, then he would definitely be able to increase his strength if he were to get his hands on it. Without further ado, Lin Xian acted quickly. He left quietly. After all, he had just killed a great emperor. The people on the other side must be frantically searching for him. Without alerting anyone, Lin Xian went on his way. Finally, he arrived near the high heavens. Along the way, he had heard all sorts of news about him. There were even various legends that were extremely outrageous. Lin Xian could only laugh after hearing this. He was probably the only one who knew the true danger. However, he had also received some news. It was said that Emperor Ziluo's corpse had been taken away by the people of the Permitha. During the process, there had been some battles. This was because some powerful clans and sects had tried to take the martial monarch's corpse away. However, in the end, they were all destroyed by the people of the otherworld heavenly king. The people of the Nirvana realm had once left behind cold words, "Let Lin Wuti wait and die." Lin Xian sneered. The grudge between him and the heavenly king was not over yet. This time, it was the first great emperor. More martial monarchs would die in his hands soon. In the end, he would personally destroy the entire Bayan. In the sky, a chariot was flying. There were 3 figures on the chariot. An old man in plain clothes was sitting there with an ancient book in his hand. He was reading it. In front of him were 2 figures. One of them was a beautiful woman in white. She had exquisite features and was very cute. She was called Bai Linger. Beside her was a handsome man in white. He stood with his hands behind his back. His name was Qin Tian. "Master, that should be the Azure lands you spoke of, right? I can feel a terrifying aura," Qin Tian said in a low voice. Bai Ling also said, "Then I'll slow down a little." She slowed down the chariot speed. The old man in plain clothes looked into the distance with a complicated expression. He said, "Be careful. It's very dangerous ahead. Ordinary boundary emperors would not dare to come here." Qin Tian and Bai Ling gasped. Suddenly, Bai Ling said, "There seems to be someone below. Let's go take a look." Before Qin Tian and Bai Ling could reply, Bai Ling had already controlled the chariot to fly down. Then they saw that there was indeed someone. It was a young man about the same age as them. He was dressed in black and had his back facing them. Could it be that this person was also going to the high heavens? Qin Tian's brows furrowed tightly. Master had said that those who came here were not ordinary people. Was this person some kind of expert? He carefully stared at Lin Xian and probed. However, he soon realized that he did not sense any powerful aura from the other party. Could it be that he was not an expert? Then coming here was equivalent to courting death. Bai Ling also said, "Hey, are you also going to the high heavens? It's very dangerous there. Don't go." Lin Xian did not pay any attention to these people and continued walking. Bai Ling was stunned. "Didn't you hear? Really, don't go any further. My master said that even boundary emperors can't come here easily." However, Lin Xian still did not answer. Qin Tian was angry. He shouted coldly, "Kid, are you deaf? Can't you hear me?" He waved his hand, and a law flew out. The law swept out and blocked Lin Xian's path. Only then did Lin Xian stop. He turned his head, and a mysterious light flickered in his eyes. He stared at the other party and said, "What's the matter?" Qin Tian didn't know why Lin Xian glanced at him. He actually felt his hair stand on end. He was actually afraid. Damn it. His face immediately darkened. "We're talking to you. Didn't you hear us?" Lin Xian smiled. "I don't even know you. Do I have to listen to you? Besides, I'm going my own way. What does it have to do with you?" "You." Qin Tian's face darkened, but he found that what the other party said was very reasonable. He couldn't refute it. What a sharp-tongued kid. He really didn't know what was good for him. He sneered. "Shut up." At this moment, the old man in linen clothes behind stood up and stopped Qin Tian. He looked at Lin Xian and probed him. He was also surprised. He couldn't tell what Lin Xian's cultivation was either. However, He saw that Lin Xian's gaze was very calm and confident. He rarely saw this kind of gaze in young people. This young man was really mysterious. However, the old man in linen clothes still said, "My disciple was too reckless and contradicted you. I hope you won't take offense. However, I still have to remind you that the place ahead is called the Heavenly Land. It's a very dangerous place. There are many things left behind from the Archean era and even the ancient times. It's extremely dangerous. If you don't have a special reason, it's better not to go." "I know, but I do have a reason to go," Lin Xian said with a smile. Oh, the old man in linen clothes was surprised. What reason? He was really curious. What reason was it? It could make a young man risk his life. Lin Xian shook his head. "I can't tell you this." Qin Tian, who was beside him, was angry. "You're really arrogant. Do you know who my master is? My master's background is frighteningly big. He's kindly reminding you now, but you actually have such an attitude. Are you courting death?" Chapter 59:44. Qin Tian was extremely annoyed by Lin Xian's nonchalant attitude. Thus, he shouted coldly. The old man frowned and said, "Tianer, don't be rude. Please don't laugh at me. My disciple has been spoiled by me and doesn't know any manners." Lin Xian nodded and said, "It's fine." Qin Tian and Bai Ling were shocked by this scene. Their master had a very high status and was admired by everyone. Usually, he was revered by tens of thousands of people. When had he ever been so courteous to a youngster? Who exactly was this kid? He was worthy of their master's attention. At this moment, Lin Xian was also sizing up the plain-clothed old man. He was stunned. Then he said, "Are you going to the Heavenly Land? If it's not necessary, don't go. I can sense a trace of black aura on you. I'm afraid your trip to the Heavenly Land this time will be very dangerous." Qin Tian was disdainful. Who was the old man? Was he more powerful than his master? However, the old man's expression was grave. He said, "Thank you for your reminder, young master. We will be careful." Then Lin Xian sped up and flew towards the Heavenly Land. After these people left, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He sensed a familiar aura on the old man. Could it be related to that family? He shook his head slightly and sped up as well. On the spirit boat ahead, Qin Tian said, unhappily, "Master, why were you so polite to that kid? I didn't sense any powerful aura on him." Bai Ling was also surprised. "Yes, Master, where did that kid come from?" The old man glanced at them and said, "You didn't sense any special aura on him. However, it doesn't mean that he isn't powerful. He's so calm and collected. Do you think he's weak?" Qin Tian said, "Calm and collected? I think he doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. If he knew how dangerous the Heavenly Land was, he would have knelt on the ground and cried." The old man shook his head. "Tianer, I think you're too arrogant. Don't you know? Why did he sense a mysterious aura from that young man? That aura was extremely terrifying. It might be the power of the six daos. Moreover, his six daos power might be even greater than mine. What? The power of the samsara." This time, Qin Tian was stunned. "This is impossible. Master, you have the power of the Azura realm. How could that brat be compared to you?" The plain-clothed old man shook his head. He did not explain anything. However, he could sense the power of the six paths from the young man. Furthermore, the power of the six paths was unfathomable. Thus, he did not dare to offend the young man. "All right, be careful from now on. We've already entered the celestial lands, and it's extremely dangerous. If you're not careful, you might be consigned to eternal damnation. So, you have to listen to me." When Qin Tian and Bai Ling heard this, they quickly nodded. Next, Lin Xian continued flying through the high heavens. This time, his speed was very slow. After about 10 days, they finally stopped. Looking at the mountain range before them, the old man took a deep breath. "Let's go, we have to be on high alert." The plain-clothed old man led the way in front. Bailing looked around nervously, but Chin Tian's expression was much more relaxed. Along the way, there was no danger at all. It seemed that the rumors were too exaggerated. This place was not as dangerous as he had imagined. Thus, he did not mind it at all. The plain-clothed old man naturally saw this, but he did not remind him of anything. This disciple of his was a genius of the Qin family. He could be considered to be from a top family. Therefore, after being spoiled and arrogant for so long, it seemed that he would have to suffer some hardships here. Just like that, the group entered the mountain. The atmosphere in the mountain became oppressive and eerily quiet. After entering, the group was scared but not in any danger. Just like that, a day passed. At night, Qin Tian was tired. He started a fire and prepared to roast some monster meat. He took out exquisite spirit wine from his storage ring, as well as some high-grade monster meat. He was ready to eat. However, the plain-clothed old man frowned and said, "This place is so strange. Don't use flames. Otherwise, it will attract unnecessary trouble." Qin Tian chose to say, "Don't worry, master. There was no danger along the way. I think this place is not as dangerous as we thought." Just as he finished speaking, the sound of Su Hong Song breaking through the air was heard. Then there was a low roar. Not good. The plain-clothed old man slapped out the flames. Then he said, "Let's go." The three of them flew quickly into the distance like lightning. However, they soon stopped. That was because there were a lot of bats in the surroundings. The black bats had red eyes, and an extremely terrifying monster aura spread in all directions. There were more than 10 million of these bats. They covered the sky, and the earth like dark clouds, completely enveloping them. "Master, what should we do?" Bailing was about to cry. The plain-clothed old man glared at Qin Tian. "Your flames attracted them." Qin Tian's face was also pale, but then he said, "It's just some bats. Watch me." He slapped out with his palm. A terrifying palm of laws covered the sky and the earth. Although Qin Tian was arrogant, he also had the strength of a quasi-emperor. The power of this move was extremely terrifying. In an instant, he swatted forward and tore some of the bats into pieces. Qin Tian laughed out loud. "What monsters! They can't even withstand a single blow." However, the plain-clothed old man exclaimed, "Retreat!" By the time Qin Tian reacted, it was already too late. The surrounding bats that blotted out the sky and covered the earth rushed towards him. He roared a few times and slapped out continuously. However, some bats were killed. However, those bats continued to transform. More and more little bats flew out. The number was several times more than before. In an instant, they pounced on Qin Tian. In an instant, wounds were left on Qin Tian's body. Qin Tian was horrified. He felt that his blood was flowing out. These bats were devouring his blood. "No, master, save me." The plain-clothed old man was also attacked. It was the same for Bailing. Everyone was enveloped by the bats. The plain-clothed old man snorted coldly. The power of Azura appeared on his body. It was an extremely terrifying and mysterious power. In an instant, a large number of bats were torn into pieces. However, it was as if these bats could not be killed. Their broken bodies regrown, turning into smaller bats and quickly regenerating. Just like that, more and more bats were killed. Even the plain-clothed old man gradually could not hold on. He was about to be devoured. Qin Tian was in despair. Even his master could not hold on. What kind of place was this? Was this the high heavens? It was too terrifying. Now he was extremely regretful. Why did he come to such a dangerous place? It was laughable. He did not care before. Who would have thought that he was the idiot Quasi-emperors could not come to such a place. On the other side, Bailing was the same. Her face became incomparably pale. There was a necklace beside her that emitted the light of laws to resist the bats. However, cracks had already appeared on the necklace. It seemed that it would not be long before it shattered. At that time, she would be enveloped by the bats. Then, her blood would be sucked dry, and she would turn into a skeleton. Just as she was in despair, another figure walked out from nearby. Bailing turned her head with difficulty. Was someone coming? When she saw that figure, she was stunned. It was that young master. She recalled that he was the young man they had met outside the High Heavens land. Was he also here? Chapter 59:45. Young master, you'd better run. It's too dangerous here. We can't resist it. Bailing reminded him at the last moment. Obviously, she was a kind girl. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard this. He didn't want to make a move at first. However, he couldn't just sit back and watch since the other party was so kind. In the next moment, Lin Xian walked towards Bailing. Bailing was stunned. Why didn't he run away? Why did he come here instead? She wanted to say something, but her surroundings had already changed. The bats that had attacked her before quickly rushed over when they saw Lin Xian. They were about to swallow Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a dragon's roar came from his body. Immediately, those bats were so scared that they trembled in fear. They quickly retreated, as if they had encountered the most terrifying thing. In an instant, they ran far away. This scene stunned Bailing. What did he do? How did he defeat those bats? She couldn't imagine it. However, she soon said, "Save my master." Lin Xian glanced over, and then snorted coldly. He said, "Get lost." The bats that were originally attacking the old man were so scared that their souls trembled when they heard these voices. They felt a suppression on their souls and bloodlines, as if a high and mighty God was looking down on them. These bats trembled in fear and quickly retreated. Was he saved? The bats on Qin Tian's body also left. However, he had become extremely thin at this moment, and white bones could be seen in many places. His face was extremely pale. It was as if he had walked around in hell and almost died. What happened? He turned his head and saw Lin Xian in the next moment. It was that kid. His eyes were burning with anger. However, the old man in linen walked over and bowed deeply to Lin Xian. "Thank you for saving my life, young master." What? Qin Tian was dumbfounded. Impossible. This kid is about the same age as me, so he's definitely not as strong as me. How is that possible? How could he defeat so many bats? He didn't believe it, he growled. The old man roared, "Shut up! If you dare to be rude to the young master again, I will expel you from the sect." "Keep you here forever." When Qin Tian heard this, his body trembled and did not dare to say anything anymore. However, a thick hostility still appeared in his eyes. He didn't believe it. Lin Xian looked at the plain-clothed elder and said, "With your strength, you can't stay here. You'd better leave." The plain-clothed old man sighed and said, "To tell you the truth, we didn't want to risk our lives here either. However, I had a reason to come. I received a summons and had no choice but to come." Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. Just as he was about to ask, another angry roar came from the distance. Then, the world turned dark. The bats that had retreated earlier rushed over once again. Their murderous aura surged as they instantly surrounded the area. Not good. Bai Ling's expression changed while the old man wore a stern look. As for Qin Tian, he was completely dumbfounded. Run. Run quickly. He wanted to escape, but he was soon beaten back and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Only Lin Xian looked calm, but he still frowned. Is someone coming again? In the next moment, he saw an even larger bat walk out. This was an ancient bat. The bloodline and laws on its body were really terrifying. In an instant, it rushed towards Lin Xian. "Oh no, Young master, dodge quickly, Bai Ling exclaimed. Qin Tian smiled. This time, this guy is dead for sure. He wanted to see Lin Xian fall with his own eyes. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Get lost. He threw a punch, and immediately, the huge bat was sent flying into the air, leaving a trail of blood. Impossible, right? Qin Tian's eyes almost popped out. Such a terrifying demonic beast was sent flying with a single punch. Could it be that this young man was really strong? At this moment, when he looked at Lin Xian, his eyes were filled with fear, and his body began to tremble. No wonder his master was so respectful to him. Who did he offend? Why aren't you getting lost? Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Lin Xian also emitted an even more terrifying pressure, and the surrounding bats began to tremble again. However, at this moment, a voice came from the darkness in the distance. Young man, are you very arrogant? However, where do you think this is? This is not a place where you can behave atrociously. As soon as the voice fell, a figure walked over from afar. It was a middle-aged man. He was wearing an ancient robe, and there were cracks on his face and body. He emitted a death aura, as if he had crawled out of hell. Bai Ling's face turned pale when she saw this scene, but the old man in cloth exclaimed, "An evil spirit." Lin Xian also frowned. He felt that the other party did not seem to be a living creature. He snorted coldly. "You are not qualified to block my path. I'll give you a chance. Get lost." After the middle-aged man in front heard this, he was instantly angry. "Kid, no one has ever dared to talk to me like this. It seems that I have to teach you a lesson." He clapped his hands, and suddenly a blurry figure appeared in the void. It was a demonic beast with 4 pairs of wings, 3 heads, and extremely sharp claws that could easily pierce through the void. However, it was obvious that the other party was not a physical body, but an illusory soul. The middle-aged man said to the demonic beast, "Capture them, suppress their souls, and bring them back." "No problem." The ferocious demonic beast above also roared. Bai Ling and the others were extremely pale. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "What is this?" It turned out to be the souls of several demonic beasts fused together. "How dare trash like this be arrogant in front of me? How dare you call me trash?" The demonic beast was completely enraged. With a roar, it quickly rushed over. Qin Tian and the others were scared out of their wits. This power was much stronger than the bats from before. It was absolutely impossible to resist. Bai Ling also exclaimed, "Young master, be careful, retreat quickly." They felt that Lin Xian could not resist it either. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his finger, a ball of flame flew out. This flame was not big, only the size of a firefly. It made the demonic beast on the opposite side laugh. A mere firefly dares to compete with me. Its momentum was even more ferocious. In the next moment, it collided with the ball of flame. With a boom, it was instantly pierced through, and its body turned into ashes. No, at the very last moment, he had given up all hope. This ball of firefly had actually killed him. A huge demonic beast was turned into ashes. The scene was very shocking. Bai Ling, Qin Tian, and the others were dumbfounded. The plain-clothed old man sucked in a breath of cold air. Only Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "You can't even block a ball of firefly. If you are not trash, what are you?" "Well, it's time to deal with you." Lin Xian looked at the middle-aged man, and a trace of cold, killing intent appeared in his eyes. The middle-aged man was so scared that he took 2 steps back. However, he soon snorted coldly. "I didn't expect you to be an expert. However, this is not the place for you to behave atrociously." Chapter 5946. If you disturb His Excellency when he's awakening, you won't be able to survive even if you have 10,000 lives. There was indeed someone inside. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light when he heard that. He looked into the distance and felt the power of the 6 paths. Not only that, but he also stared at the middle-aged man. I also feel the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation in you. It must be related to the power of the 6 paths. You can actually feel it. The middle-aged man was extremely shocked. Lin Xian said, "Lead the way. Take me to see your excellency." Lin Xian always felt that this opportunity should be related to the Rinnegan. The other party's excellency might also have the power of the 6 paths. Therefore, Lin Xian had to go. You want to see our excellency? The middle-aged man was disdainful. However, in the next instant, he was stunned. That was because he saw Lin Xian's eyes looking at him. The middle-aged man felt as if his soul was about to be torn apart. How is this possible? The middle-aged man was terrified. He was not a living creature. Was he summoned by someone using the power of the 6 paths? Of course, it was the excellency he mentioned. In his opinion, no one could hurt him. However, the other party's gaze almost turned him into ashes. Who is this young man? He couldn't resist. Damn it, it seems that only the excellency's power can kill me. In the next moment, the middle-aged man took a deep breath and said, "Come with me." He was going to take these people with him. When the time comes, let's see how these people will kneel and beg for mercy. Lin Xian took a step forward and followed him. The linen-clothed old man also took a deep breath and followed. "Are you really going?" When Qin Tian saw this scene, he went crazy. He didn't want to go at all. He planned to go back, but not long after he left, a roar came from the distance. Qin Tian was so scared that he was about to cry. He quickly turned around and followed. "Wait for me." It was safer to stay in front of Lin Xian and the others. After walking for about half a day, a change finally took place in front of them. A mysterious and terrifying aura appeared. It was like a cloud shrouding the surroundings, causing one's soul to be greatly suppressed. He couldn't find anything inside at all. Moreover, it was as if he had to kneel down and submit. "Let's go." The middle-aged man leading the way laughed coldly and walked into the thick fog. Lin Xian followed, and the others followed suit. After entering, they were all stunned. They saw an inconceivable scene. Even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Up ahead, countless souls danced in the air. These souls were of all shapes and sizes. Some were alone, and some were fused together. They seemed to be carrying out some sort of ancient sacrifice. They were constantly kowtowing. Furthermore, there were strange runes and radiances on their bodies. As for the direction where they were kowtowing, it was just a piece of flat land. It didn't seem to be anything special, but Lin Xian instantly realized that this was the place where he had rested and encountered danger. Back then, when he defeated the spiritual sovereign and cultivated here, he felt that there was a mysterious power under the ground that threatened him. In fact, he had even attacked him before. Lin Xian didn't accept the challenge at that time and left. He didn't expect that there was indeed something wrong with this place. Now, it had become so strange. Bai Ling, Qin Tian, and the others were terrified. The old man's face was also pale. He even looked a little pained. It was as if something was about to break out of his body. When the middle-aged man saw this scene, he sneered. "How is it? Are you scared?" His eyes were filled with pride. However, when he saw Lin Xian, he was stunned, because Lin Xian still looked calm and stood with his hands behind his back. Even one of his eyes was flickering with a mysterious light. Just a glance at the light was enough to make him panic. What was going on with this young man? Wasn't he afraid in front of this power? Suddenly, a low roar came from the front. Then, the surrounding illusory souls all formed seals with their palms and knelt respectfully on the ground. Then, a few more souls that were even larger appeared in the void. They were like leaders leading these people together. At the same time, An ancient voice came from them. "Lord, wake up." The flat ground in front of them split open, and from inside there seemed to be a figure slowly standing up. It was also a blurry soul. However, there was a powerful force on his body that seemed to be able to suppress all souls. His appearance caused the bodies of the surrounding souls to tremble. The middle-aged man beside him also knelt on the ground with incomparable respect. For example, Bai Ling and Qin Tian's souls were about to split open, and they kept retreating. The linen-clothed old man's forehead split open, and a soul rushed out and knelt in front of him. The linen-clothed old man was stunned like a statue. Only Lin Xian was still standing there, as if he was not affected. The light of reincarnation was blooming in his eyes. He stared at the illusory soul in front of him. Was it the one who attacked him before? But he kept feeling that something was not right. The figure that came out looked very young. However, the figure's eyes were incomparably strange. They were incomparably black, as if they were from hell. It made one fall into the abyss with a single glance. "You actually didn't kneel when you saw me?" That mysterious figure saw Lin Xian in an instant. That was because everyone in the area was on their knees. Only Lin Xian was still standing. His black eyes were like thick fog spinning rapidly, and he was about to make a move. However, at this moment, a shocking light came from afar, followed by a loud laugh. What a powerful force! Is this the power of the 6 paths? Let me see, which of the 6 paths is it? In the next moment, a woman rushed over. This woman was quite beautiful, and she was dressed in white. What was even stranger was that her eyes were actually white. It was very strange. After she arrived, she immediately stared at the ancient figure. In the next moment, she rushed over. Her white eyes exploded, as if turning into 2 large white hands directly enveloping the mysterious figure. The mysterious figure roared angrily, and for a moment was suppressed. The surrounding souls were enraged. The middle-aged man looked up at the sky and roared crazily. "Damn it, what did you do to His Excellency? Who are you? How dare you be so impudent to His Excellency?" Countless souls roared. Even Lin Xian was stunned. He originally wanted to make a move, but he did not expect that the mysterious figure in front of him would be suppressed. And this new person soul was also strange. "Kill him!" The surrounding souls rushed over in an overwhelming manner. However, the beautiful woman in white only sneered. "You're overestimating yourselves." Her eyes emitted a strange light, and then her body swayed, easily dodging the attacks of these souls. In the next moment, her eyes emitted light, and immediately these souls screamed as if they were stabbed. "You evil spirits are really good-for-nothings. Not a single one can fight." Chapter 59:47. "I'll take your hungry ghost path." The white-eyed woman smiled. Lin Xian was surprised when he heard this. Is it the evil ghost path? It was indeed one of the 6 paths. This place was indeed related to the 6 paths of reincarnation. The evil spirits in front of them all retreated, and many of them turned into ashes. At this moment, a soul suddenly stood up and roared at the sky. This soul was the soul that rushed out of the linen-clothed old man's body. The linen-clothed old man was already old enough, and this soul was even more mysterious. He snorted coldly and once again led the crowd to charge over. "What a reckless thing!" the white-eyed woman sneered, and a white palm flew out of her eyes, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. He slapped the old soul away. He said, "With just you, you're no match for me at all." The old soul was injured, and the linen-clothed old man's body also shook, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Several cracks appeared on his body. "Master," Bai Ling exclaimed, and Qin Tian was also scared silly. Lin Xian frowned. He also felt the power of the 6 paths on this old man. there was the power of the evil ghost path and a trace of it, not the evil ghost path, but other power. However, it was very weak. So, your true body is there. The white-eyed woman in front turned her head and stared at the linen-clothed old man, sneering. This big hand was about to slap over. Not good, Bailing exclaimed. She wanted to resist, but she couldn't do it at all. Could it be that her master was going to be slapped to death? At this critical moment, Lin Xian walked out. With just you want to stop me? The white-eyed woman sneered disdainfully. Lin Xian raised his head, glanced at the other party, and said indifferently, "Stop, hand over the soul you're suppressing. The evil ghost path is not something you can possess. Reckless thing. With just you? How dare you order me?" The white-eyed woman was angry, and the white light in her eyes became even more terrifying. A powerful soul suppression rushed over. However, Lin Xian's eyes also had a trace of light. In the next moment, the white light shattered, and the two white palms split apart. The souls of the evil spirits that had been suppressed earlier rushed out and came to Lin Xian's side. Master was saved. The surrounding souls heaved a sigh of relief. However, the white-eyed woman's expression changed drastically. How was this possible? Are you able to destroy my eye technique? Her eyes were not ordinary. Her strength had reached the half-martial monarch realm, and her eye technique was extremely powerful. Who could break it? How could she not be shocked when the other party did it so easily? Damn it, go to hell. Her white eyes erupted with boundless radiance, transforming into terrifying sharp swords that blotted out the sky and earth as they slashed over. Boom, 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 these sharp swords slashed at Lin Xian's soul, but Lin Xian didn't move an inch. On the other hand, the white-eyed woman was forced to retreat. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Her soul was hurt by the backlash. How was this possible? How could the other party's soul be so terrifying? The white-eyed woman was stunned. The surrounding evil spirits were also dumbfounded. The middle-aged man from before was also scared, out of his wits. Qin Tian knelt on the ground. At this moment, he looked at Lin Xian as if he was looking at a god. He had never heard of such a heaven-defying technique. The smile on Lin Xian's face disappeared and was replaced by a trace of coldness. Not only that, the Rinnegan in his right eye also shone brightly. The power of the six paths appeared. It covered the sky and the earth. The entire universe was covered by his gaze. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a supreme ruler. Those evil spirits that were covered by Lin Xian's gaze all prostrated themselves. They knelt on the ground in fear. This power was even more terrifying than their masters. The middle-aged man with the crack on his face and the huge bat all prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling. At this moment, they no longer dared to resist. The white-eyed woman also felt the power of the gaze. Her face turned ugly. She gritted her teeth and said, "Who the hell are you? You don't deserve to know." Lin Xian shook his head. "You're courting death." The white-eyed woman was furious. She instantly rushed over and came in front of Lin Xian. Her palm was like a knife, slashing down fiercely. At the same time, the white light in her eyes intertwined to form a large net. It came from the sky, trying to bind Lin Xian's soul. Boom. Facing the other party's peerless attack, Lin Xian did not dodge at all. Instead, he clenched his fist and punched out. Boom. It was a simple punch without any fancy moves. However, its power was incomparably shocking. The white-haired woman's palm suddenly shattered and turned into a bloody mist. Not only that, but half of her body was also torn to shreds by the power of the explosion. The Soul King that she had formed was also shattered. The white-haired woman retreated and was torn into pieces. The evil spirits around all saw this scene. They were so scared that their souls were about to split open. As for Qin Tian, the middle-aged man, and the others, their vision turned black. They had offended such a terrifying powerhouse before. What kind of existence was this white-eyed woman? She could easily suppress the mysterious lord. She was absolutely terrifying. However, such an existence was shattered by Lin Xian's punch. Didn't that mean that Lin Xian's power was even more terrifying? Moreover, it was so terrifying that it was unimaginable. She couldn't withstand a single blow. Lin Xian withdrew his fist and shook his head slightly. Beside him, the evil spirit man with pitch-black eyes also trembled. To be honest, he also disdained Lin Xian before. But now, feeling Lin Xian's strange power, he was also frightened. At the same time, he was shocked. He stared at Lin Xian's eyes. Rinnegan? His pitch-black eyes formed a whirlpool, because he really didn't expect to see Rinnegan here. Damn it, you actually caused me to be seriously injured. The white-eyed woman in front of him was not dead. Countless white mist filled her eyes. Her body was shrouded in white mist. In the next moment, her body quickly recovered. She said, "I'm a half-emperor, and I have a strange eye technique. You can't kill me." "Can't kill you? A strange eye technique?" Lin Xian sneered. "You don't know anything about my power." In the next moment, Lin Xian completely performed Rinnegan, and a powerful force burst out. In the sky, a heavenly eye was formed. From it, a palm reached out and slapped down. 6 paths of reincarnation. Heaven's hand. Boom. This pair of palms seemed to come from the sky. It was the hand of God. When it slapped down, the white-haired woman's soul was impacted. Her soul cracked, and blood quickly flowed out of her eyes. She held her head and screamed, "No, my eye technique is broken. I'm injured. This is impossible." "How can your eyes be so terrifying?" The white-haired woman was completely frightened. She originally thought that she was careless before and that she could seriously fight with him. But now it seemed that she was too ridiculous. The other party's strength was far beyond her. She was already a half-emperor. So, who was the other party? A supreme master or a great emperor? She didn't dare to imagine. She felt that her soul was about to disappear. She roared crazily, "No, you can't kill me. I'm from the Nirvana realm. My master is Great Emperor Baiyu. If you kill me, you will offend the Great Emperor and the Nirvana realm. You can't afford to offend them." Chapter 5948. Was he from the Higan realm? After hearing this, by Ling Qintian, and the others felt their scalps go numb. This was the strongest overlord. How could they not know? Even the evil spirits in the surroundings began to tremble. Only Lin Xian sneered. "Higan realm? If you are from other sects, I might consider letting you go. But if you are from the Higan realm, I won't let you go, because I hate the Higan realm the most." After speaking, the hand of the heavenly Tao fell mercilessly, directly shattering the soul of the white-eyed woman. No, the white-eyed woman let out a desperate scream. She didn't believe that the other party really dared to kill her. Wasn't he afraid of the Higan realm's revenge? Wasn't he afraid of the great emperor's pursuit? Boom. Her broken body fell down, and blood dyed the ground red. The blood of a pseudo-emperor was also terrifying. The entire valley was filled with the aura of blood, making countless people's scalps go numb. Lin Xian waved his hand and took away the other party's storage ring. Then he looked at Lord Evil Spirit beside him. Lord Evil Spirit's face changed, and he said, "Are you going to attack me?" Lin Xian smiled. "I'm curious. Who are you? How do you have the Evil Spirit realm? Who am I?" "You don't need to know. I just want to know, who are you? How do you have a Rinnegan?" "Kid, hand over the Rinnegan, and I'll let you leave safely. How about it?" Lin Xian laughed after hearing this. You couldn't even beat the white-eyed woman before, and you want to beat me?" Lord Evil Spirit snorted coldly. "Who said I can't beat her? If you don't make a move, I still have other trump cards. It's just that you beat me to it. However, I don't care about that white-eyed woman. Her eyes, although strange, are not Rinnegan. I care more about your Rinnegan, because you actually have the heaven, earth, and human Tao. If you add my evil spirit realm, it will be even more perfect. So, hand over the Rinnegan. You don't know what's good for you. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He didn't expect that Lord Evil Spirit dared to threaten him. He slapped out with his palm, enveloping the other party and shattering it. The surrounding souls were all going crazy. They kept roaring, but none of them dared to make a move. Lin Xian was too terrifying. One look was enough to turn them into ashes. Lord Evil Spirit's body was torn into pieces. However, the pair of pitch-black eyes did not disappear. Instead, they turned into a thick fog that drifted between heaven and earth. Then, it floated into the distance, and an ice-cold voice sounded from the dense fog. "Brat, you dare to attack me? You don't know the meaning of death." The fog transformed back into the mysterious man. This made Lin Xian frown tightly. It seemed that the other party did have some tricks up his sleeve. The evil spirits attacked. After the mysterious man came out, a pair of black eyes burst forth and enveloped the surrounding evil spirits. The evil spirits seemed to have been infused with some kind of power, and they immediately stood up. Their bodies grew taller, and their faces became more ferocious. Their cold auras covered the sky and covered the earth. Endless light. In the face of the overwhelming evil spirits, Lin Xian waved his hand. The merciless flame turned into light and flew in all directions. It was like the god of the sun in a painting. The power of light and darkness collided and burst out a brilliant light. Lin Xian's divine fire was a great success divine fire, which was extremely terrifying. As such, the evil spirits that were summoned around him were reduced to ashes one after another. Not a single one of them was able to reach him. Lin Xian said, "It's useless. The things you summoned are no match for me at all." The mysterious man was also shocked. How could the other party's flame be so terrifying? The other party's physique had extremely terrifying power. Damn it, who the hell was this guy? Not only did he have the Rinnegan, but he also had such a terrifying flame. What? Won't you surrender? Lin Xian snorted again. 9 suns appeared on his body and connected, as if turning into a sun god picture. The 9 suns were in the sky. It was too terrifying. The power of the sun turned all the evil spirits into ashes. Lord Evil Spirit was also retreating nonstop. The thick mist in his eyes spread out and formed a battle armor, covering him to resist. However, he could clearly feel the huge suppression. He gritted his teeth and said, "You have the 9 yang divine body. You have practiced it to the great success level." He was really shocked. The 9 yang divine body was famous in the world. Who didn't know that it was a super physique in the universe? However, very few people could practice it. The young man in front of him had practiced the divine body to the great success level. No wonder he could easily kill a half-step emperor. It's good that you know. You are no match for me at all. Lin Xian activated the 9 suns, connected them into one, and charged over. This time, Lord Evil Spirit was finally unable to hold on any longer. His body was torn apart once again. Only a pair of pitch-black eyes remained. Those eyes also turned into a mass of black mist and rapidly flew away. Lin Xian chased after him all the way. Those eyes drilled into the ground. You can't run away. The 9 suns directly shattered the ground, forming countless great canyons. However, in the next moment, an earth-shattering power rushed over from the ground and directly sent the 9 suns flying. What happened? Bailing and the others were stunned. The linen-clothed old man also vomited blood and retreated. The soul that flew out of his body had already returned. He looked at the scene in front of him and was extremely shocked. Lin Xian also frowned tightly. He could sense an even more terrifying and mysterious power. It was much stronger than Lord Evil Spirit from before. What exactly was it? He looked carefully. He saw a black shadow fly out from the ground below. When he saw this thing, Lin Xian was stunned. It was actually an eyeball. It was an extremely ancient eyeball, wrapped in countless black mist. Then it turned into a pitch-black eye. Just like that, it floated in the void. This eye wasn't big, but the power it emitted was extremely terrifying. It was as if there were countless evil spirits surrounding it in a trance. It was as if it could connect to the netherworld, the evil spirit's eye. It turned out that this was the other party, the real evil spirit's path. The mysterious man from before was just a part of the soul's power. This eye was the one that possessed true power. The black evil spirit's eye flew out, blooming with a terrifying light. He stared at Lin Xian with a cold voice. I want your other eye of reincarnation. I also want your 9-yang divine body. With your eyes and body, I will be able to reappear in this world. When that time comes, I will definitely become an immortal. With just you? Lin Xian snorted disdainfully. You won't have the chance at all because you are no match for me. You don't know what's good for you. The evil spirit's eye in front of him was angry. An extremely terrifying black gaze appeared on it. It enveloped heaven and earth. Countless phantoms of evil spirits pounced over, tearing the entire universe into pieces. Bailing, Qin Tian, and the others vomited blood. Why aren't you leaving? Lin Xian waved his hand and sent Bailing and the others far away. In the next moment, he turned his head and stared at the other party. This black gaze was extremely terrifying. It was cold and merciless, and it could tear apart any soul. Even Lin Xian felt a sense of pressure. However, when the eye of reincarnation was opened, all the pressure disappeared. Lin Xian used the 6 paths of reincarnation and stood in the void, like the god of 6 paths. Chapter 59-49. Lin Xian unleashed the power of the 6 paths and charged forward. The two of them fought fiercely. The evil spirit eye trembled violently. It had suffered a violent impact. Damn it, the power of the other party's reincarnation was so terrifying. It did not take it head-on. Instead, it chose to dodge. It wanted to use a clever method to win. The evil spirit's eye summoned countless evil spirits. They covered the sky and covered the earth as they flew over, wanting to wear down Lin Xian's strength. Countless evil spirits covered the sky and covered the earth. There were millions of them, and it was impossible to kill them all. In the end, they completely engulfed Lin Xian. Lin Quan shouted coldly. The phantom of the 6 paths world swept across the land. He suppressed the world. It's useless. Your evil spirits can't hurt me at all. Is that so? The evil spirit, I sneered. I don't need to hurt you. I just need to exhaust your power. In the end, you will obediently submit. Without the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation, you are nothing. So, you are afraid of me? Lin Xian laughed. You are courting death. The evil spirit, I roared. Since you want to die in advance, I will fulfill your wish. 100 Ghosts Parade. This time, the evil spirit eye erupted with an extremely terrifying light. It seemed to form a black vortex. A team walked out from it. There were a total of hundreds of evil spirits. These evil spirits were of strange shapes, and there were very few of them. Compared to thousands of soldiers, they were negligible. However, their strength was even more terrifying than a magnificent army of thousands of men and horses, especially the one in the lead. He was wearing the hell armor and holding the hell mech in his hand. He was the leader of 100 ghosts. Roar! As soon as he came out, he raised his head and roared. Instantly, 100 ghosts rushed over, covering the sky and covering the earth. The surroundings turned pitch black. Lin Xian could not even see his own fingers. Even so, he could feel a sinister chill. He snorted coldly and punched in all directions to resist. The evil spirit eye sneered. Useless kid. These are not ordinary evil spirits. They are incomparably mysterious existences. I was the one who summoned you from the 18th level of hell. You can slowly despair. A cold laugh resounded through the air. In the distance, bailing, the plain-clothed old man, and the others were all terrified. It was said that the 18 abysses of hell were incomparably terrifying existences. Who would have thought that they would actually be summoned? The night parade of 100 ghosts arrived in front of Lin Xian. They let out mournful cries, wanting to tear Lin Xian to pieces. Lin Xian snorted coldly. 9 suns revolved around him, and the 6 paths of reincarnation swept out to resist. At the same time, he stared at the malevolent spirit channel before him and pointed his finger forward. Great dragon sword chi circled around his fingertips, piercing through the world. It's useless. I'm not afraid of mere sword energy. The evil spirit's eye sneered. However, in the next instant, it began to scream miserably. Black blood began to drip from its eyes. It frantically retreated. Damn it, you actually managed to injure me? That's impossible. It was crazy. What was it? It was the evil spirit's eye, an incomparably mysterious existence. What kind of sword chi could hurt it? It really couldn't imagine. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Stupid thing. I've already said that even if I don't have the power of reincarnation, you're still no match for me. How ridiculous. You actually want to contend with me. Lin Xian attacked again. He flicked his fingers repeatedly. An endless sword chi flew out. They turned into sword dragons one after another, warring between heaven and earth, tearing the entire world apart. The evil spirits, I sensed the sharpness of the sword chi and didn't dare to resist it head-on. It kept dodging. In the end, it was completely furious. Damn it, how dare you underestimate me? I won't let you off. Watch me summon the ghosts. It roared angrily, and an extremely terrifying great Tao appeared above its black eyes. In the next moment, heaven and earth shook, and countless cold auras filled the air. In the distance, Bai Ling and the others almost fainted from fright. Even the night parade of 100 ghosts that were fighting in front of them began to tremble. They actually crawled on the ground. This was the night parade of 100 ghosts. It was so terrifying, but now it actually surrendered. One could imagine how terrifying the being that was summoned was. Even Lin Xian stopped smiling, and his expression became serious. He could feel that the being that was summoned this time was an extremely powerful expert. The cracks in the sky were everywhere, and an illusory figure slowly appeared. That figure was too blurry. It was impossible to tell what it was, but it was abnormally tall and indomitable, as if it was a god. However, its body was surrounded by extremely terrifying ghost fire. Humph, one eye can only summon to this extent, but it's enough. Kid, this is the power of a real ghost god. Are you ready to go to hell? The evil spirit's eye laughed. Who is summoning Lord Ghost God? At this moment, a cold voice came from the space crack. Following that, a gigantic hand of the heavens appeared. This gigantic hand was abnormally terrifying. He said in a deep voice, Lord Ghost God is sleeping. I will fight. The devil's hand? That's good too. The evil spirit's eye smiled and said, Then please make your move. The hand in the sky was called the devil's hand. After it appeared, it swept across all directions. No matter who the enemy is, I can tear it to pieces. Lin Xian's expression was strange. He didn't recognize the huge figure in the sky, but he was sure of this hand. When he was in the second star field, there was once a netherworld sovereign who fought with him. He took out a page of the Book of Life and Death and summoned it. A hand. It was the hand in front of him. He didn't expect it to be called the devil's hand. Now it was summoned again. It seemed that these existences were all from the 18 levels of hell. The 18 levels of hell suppressed countless experts. Therefore, some of these people who cultivated the power of darkness had various ways to summon the people inside, or borrow the power inside. If it was someone else, Lin Xian might be cautious, but he didn't care about this devil's hand at all. He snorted coldly, "You dare to come over with this hand? I advise you to go back obediently. Otherwise, I will split you open and completely destroy your soul. Ignorant ant, you dare to underestimate and threaten me." The devil's hand was completely angry. The evil spirits, I also laughed. "Stupid thing, you offended the devil's hand. You will end up very miserably." "Is that so? Then let's wait and see." Lin Xian shouted coldly. "Open your eyes and see who I am." The devil's hand flew over, covering the sky and the earth, about to envelop the entire universe. However, when it saw Lin Xian, it shook violently, as if it was afraid. He quickly retreated, roaring crazily at the same time, "Damn kid, why are you here?" He recognized Lin Xian. Last time, in the second starfield, he couldn't do anything to him. Moreover, the power of the other party terrified him, so he didn't continue to fight at that time, and escaped. He didn't expect to meet the other party again this time. Lin Xian said, "What, do you want to fight?" "Humph, kid, just you wait. I'm not feeling well today. We'll fight another day." The devil's hand turned and flew into the space crack, disappearing. Did it escape? The evil spirit's eye was stunned. He also knew how terrifying the devil's hand was. It was a terrifying existence in hell. But now, it escaped before fighting. Could it be that the young man in front of him was so terrifying? Was it to this extent? Chapter 5950. The devil's hand had escaped. Lin Xian mocked. "Is this the power you summoned? How ridiculous. Is this all you've got? Damn brat." The evil spirit's eye was so angry that he vomited blood, although he didn't know what was going on. However, this scene was undoubtedly a ruthless slap to his face. "Brat, don't be so smug." Although the devil's hand had escaped, the phantom of the ghost god was still there. Although it was just a phantom, it was much more powerful than the devil's hand. "Even if I have to pay a price, I have to awaken the phantom of the ghost god." Something suddenly gushed out of the black eye. It was unusually mysterious. It seemed to be some fragments. What were they? He didn't know. However, they flew toward the phantom of the ghost god. The evil spirit's eye was heartbroken to take out these things. However, in order to kill Lin Xian, it was all worth it. These fragments were integrated into the phantom of the ghost god. The next moment, a low voice sounded. "Who is summoning me?" "It's me, asking you to kill the brat opposite." "No problem." The phantoms of the specter god completely swallowed the shards. In the next moment, its huge body swayed, and a pair of eyes, like ghost fire, stared at Lin Xian. "Go to hell." A piercing cold light burst out from the illusory eyes and shrouded down. The terrifying gaze covered Lin Xian, causing the void around Lin Xian to shatter. Lin Xian's body also swayed. Seeing this scene, the evil spirits, I laughed proudly. "How is it? Brat, do you feel frightened? You can't hold on any longer, can you? The power of the ghost god is not something you can resist at all." Lin Xian was also surprised. He had to admit that the power of the ghost god was indeed very strong, much stronger than the devil's hand from before. It belonged to a kind of magical power. The ghost fire on it indeed brought a huge impact to his 9 young divine body. However, it was not enough to make him afraid. He had an extreme weapon, the immortal slaying sword, and the great dragon sword soul. In the next instant, Lin Xian took out the immortal slaying sword and cleaved the gaze apart with a single slash. The sword split heaven and earth. A rumbling sound rang out as the heavens and earth shattered, transforming into a crack. Lin Xian walked out from within the gaze. He said in a low voice, "It's useless. With this sword in hand, I am invincible. Spectre, he is looking down on you. Show him your true strength." "Evil demons," I shouted from behind. The phantom of the spectre god was infuriated. He reached out with his palm. It was as if the 18 layers of hell were crushing down. Lin Xian let out a cold snort. He stood tall and straight as the dragon roared within his body. His draconic aura soared to the heavens as he unleashed the power of the great dragon sword soul. "I have a sword that can break the 9 heavens. Ghost God, do you really want to be my enemy?" The sharp sword Qi blocked the demonic god's palm, and an earth-shattering sound erupted. The two sides were in a deadlock. When Evil Demon's Eye saw this scene, he was stunned. What a terrifying sword, Qi. How was this possible? The other party's sword was so sharp. What kind of sword Qi was this? It could even block the palm of the spectre god. "No one can challenge me." The phantom of the spectre god was furious. The other palms slapped down. The two palms overlapped, and the power multiplied. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Stubborn thing, since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." Lin Xian roared angrily and waved the immortal slaying sword. Dragon shadows surrounded it as the sword pierced through the two palms together. Boom, boom. With a shattering sound, the two palms were split apart. Boundless ghost fire scattered and pierced through the void. The spectre god also let out a crazy roar. At the same time, dragon shadows filled the sky and danced in the air. Lin Xian pointed his sword at the sky. At this moment, he was extremely powerful. "Even if you are a spectre god, so what? My sword is fearless. It's so strong." Bai Ling looked up. At this moment, her heart was filled with admiration. The so-called sword god was nothing more than this. The old man in linen clothes was shocked. A living legend. The spectre god was furious. He retracted his broken palm and stared at Lin Xian. "You actually have the power of the great dragon sword." There was a trace of fear in his voice. After hearing this, Evil Demon's Eye's pupils shrank. "What? The power of the great dragon sword? You actually have the great dragon sword." He was also frightened and began to sway. The great dragon sword was an offensive holy technique in the world. It was invincible and could destroy everything. How could they not have heard of it? However, wasn't the great dragon sword broken back then? How could there be someone with such power? Since you recognize the power of the great dragon sword, you are not mature enough, and you hand over the evil demon path. "Dream on, I won't hand it over." The black eyes roared. He said to the spectre god, "Help me with all your strength to resist him." "What's the benefit?" "I won't go against the great dragon sword for no reason. I promise that I will leave safely and return to the Six Paths Gate. I will use the power of the sect to help you restore your complete soul." "Does the Six Paths Gate really still exist?" The spectre god was very doubtful. The evil demon path said, "Of course it exists. The Six Paths Gate controls reincarnation. How could it be destroyed? Although it was severely damaged back then, it still exists. Now I have the Six Paths Gate, and the time to open it has arrived. Help me once, and you will benefit endlessly." "Okay, then I will believe you once." The spectre god's phantom nodded. In the next moment, he took a step forward and blocked Lin Xian's way. At the same time, he said, "Go quickly." The evil demon path turned into a ray of light and flew into the distance. "Wanna leave?" Lin Quan roared and chased after him. However, he was stopped by a palm. "Your opponent is me." "You?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. "If you were in your heyday, you could really stop me. But now, you are just a phantom. Your strength is not enough to compete with me." The sword in Lin Xian's hand slashed out once again, causing the palm to shake nonstop. The specter god's phantom said, "Yes, it is just a phantom, but the Six Paths Gate can restore me, so I must help them." The Six Paths Gate. Lin Xian was stunned. He knew a sect in the Six Paths Gate that had the Six Paths body and the Six Paths of Reincarnation Fist. Lin Xian had cultivated before. He didn't know the difference between this Six Paths Gate and that one. The evil demon path in front of him was about to disappear, and Lin Xian couldn't sense its trace. His face darkened. "If you really want to stop me, then don't blame me." He waved his hand, took out the universe ring, and threw it out. The specter god's phantom's palm approached, forming a sea of ghost fire that kept shaking. But in an instant, it was pierced through. A Vajra bracelet hit his shoulder, causing his huge body to fly out. The specter god's eyes were full of shock. "You have the universe ring? Who the hell are you?" He was too shocked. Lin Xian said, "I still have many trump cards." He took out the sky-devouring jar. An extreme weapon? What a terrifying devouring power. The specter god was completely stunned. He realized that he had completely underestimated his opponent. "After countless years, you appeared again. You're such a heaven-defying character. Tell me, who the hell are you?" The specter god asked. "My name is Lin Wudi. Those who stop me will die." Chapter 59-51. Lin Wudi, what an arrogant name. However, the ghost god didn't think that the other party was arrogant, because with the other party's means and trump cards, he really deserved this name. "Young man, I have to say that you really surprised me. I didn't expect that after 1,000,000 years, someone like you would still appear. However, I have a reason to continue fighting. The appearance of the Six Paths Gate is my opportunity. I must recover my soul." Lin Xian frowned. He said, "If the Six Paths Gate can do it, I may be able to do it too. I have a Rinnegan. If I take the evil ghost path, my reincarnation power will be stronger. At that time, I can help you recover your soul." Hearing this, the ghost god's phantom fell silent. Lin Xian saw that there was hope and said, "You also said that a person like me, even if it was 1,000,000 years ago, it was rare to see someone like me. Believe me and cooperate with me. This is the right choice." "Okay, I'll believe you this time." The phantom of the specter god slowly disappeared, and his voice rang out. "In the future, come to the 15th floor of hell and find me." "The 15th floor of hell? I got it." Lin Xian nodded. After the ghost god's phantom disappeared, he rushed into the sky and chased after it. After flying for a long time, he came to an unfamiliar place. Lin Xian stopped. He frowned tightly. He couldn't sense the other party's aura. The other party's aura disappeared without a trace from this place. In other words, the other party should have entered a mysterious space or relic. He used his Rinnegan to investigate, and his gaze covered the entire universe. "Is there no one?" Lin Xian was stunned. The other party had completely disappeared? Impossible. He didn't believe it. From the previous conversation, the other party should have returned to the Six Paths Gate. This should be a sect, and a very ancient sect with the power of the Six Paths. Perhaps it was the power of this sect that hid the other party's aura. Lin Xian snorted. The Six Paths Gate should be in the land of heaven. He had set up several arrays here to observe everything. He didn't believe that the other party would never come out. At the same time, he recalled another matter. It was the plain-clothed old man from before. A soul that came out of the old man's body also knelt before the evil spirit eye. From the looks of it, the other party had secrets as well. Thinking of this, Lin Xian returned. Amid the ruins of the vast mountain, 3 figures emerged in sorry states. They were the plain-clothed old man, Bai Ling, and Qin Tian. The 3 of them had pale faces, as if they had just survived a calamity. In their eyes, the previous battle was a battle between gods. The linen-clothed old man was even more shocked. Have all the evil spirit eyes fled? Lin Gongzi was truly too powerful. So, he was Lin Wuti. Bailing was the same. Her eyes were filled with stars. She was a legendary super genius. Qin Tian was scared silly. Naturally, he had heard of Lin Wuti's deeds and legends. After all, it had spread throughout the universe. It was already a blessing that he didn't die after going up against such a person. In the midst of their thoughts, a figure suddenly descended from the sky and landed before the three of them. Lin Gongzi, it's you? Bai Ling cried out in surprise. Qin Tian, on the other hand, was so frightened that he fell to his knees with a plop. Young master, please spare me. The old man also bowed deeply. Greetings, Lin Gongzi. I didn't know your identity before. Please forgive me. It's nothing. I don't blame you. Lin Xian said indifferently. He stared at the old man and asked, You should know why I'm here, right? Tell me about your situation. What is the soul in your body? The old man took a deep breath and said, All right, I knew that I couldn't hide this matter any longer. I can tell you that I'm from the Azura clan. Azura clan? Lin Xian's eyebrows twitched. The powerful family that disappeared? Did your family once control the power of time? Young master knows. The old man's face was filled with shock. Lin Xian nodded. I have some connections with the Azura clan. However, as far as I know, the Azura clan was destroyed. How did you survive? The old man sighed, and a hint of sadness appeared in his eyes. He said, Young master, since you know that the Azura clan has some power of time, then you should be able to understand that they can go to the past and the future. Our Azura clan was destroyed back then, but a few people escaped. They went to different time and space, and I was one of them. I came back alive. However, my talent is limited, and I can only cultivate to this point. In addition to controlling some power of time, there is another power, and that is the Azura path of the 6 paths. 6 paths. Heaven path, earth path, human path, Azura path, evil spirit path, and hell path. Each path has a different power. When the 6 paths combine, they form the power of reincarnation. I have mastered some power of the Azura path. This time, I was summoned. The evil spirit path can summon some souls and devour them to strengthen itself. This time, I guess it's the evil spirit path. Firstly, I want to see the evil spirit path of the 6 paths. Secondly, if I have the chance, I also want to seize the evil spirit path. However, after arriving, I realized that I was too naive. The Azura path. Lin Xian was surprised. I see, he asked. Can you still sense the existence of the evil spirit path? I respect him, but he disappeared without a trace. Also, do you know anything about the 6 paths gate? The old man was surprised. Did the evil spirit I escape? It seems that he really returned to the 6 paths gate. The old man said, I know a little about the 6 paths gate. This is a very ancient sect that can be traced back to the ancient times. The ancient era was even more ancient than the immemorial era. That sect controlled the power of the 6 paths. It was even said that they once controlled the reincarnation sword. However, they were destroyed later. As for who did it, no one knew. Some people said that many forces joined forces to destroy them. As the reincarnation sword shattered, the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation scattered everywhere. Many people obtained some of its power. From the looks of it, the 6 paths gate wasn't completely destroyed. At the very least, there were still some survivors. If they wanted to restore the 6 paths gate, there might be some power of the reincarnation sword inside. So that's how it is. From the looks of it, the 6 Daos gate that Lin Xian knew of must have been passed down from the ancient 6 Daos gate. Perhaps the descendants wanted to continue rebuilding the 6 paths gate. However, everyone's talent was different, and the height that they could reach was also different. Those who founded the Six Paths Gate back then might not be the top geniuses. Even the top geniuses could only establish an ordinary sect. At the same time, what surprised him was that the ancient Six Paths Gate had once controlled the reincarnation sword. Although it was shattered in the end, it was still shocking. He wondered if the reincarnation sword would appear again when the Six Paths Gate opened this time. Lin Xian was looking forward to it. Lin Xian said, "I'll take you to the place where the evil spirit I disappeared. Help me sense it." The old man in cloth said, "No problem. However, young master, you have to wait for me for a few days. I still have something to deal with." "What is it? Is it more important than this?" You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.